Okay. Hey, you guys. Welcome to the live. So we have Deb, we have Alexa, we got Princess. I swear he likes to wait for his camera before he turns that on.
His hair's getting almost as long as mine.
Oh. It is. It is.
You know what? By next week, I'll cut it off.
No, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, and Alexa wants to apologize. Sorry. Go ahead, Deb.
You can't hear that fan, can you?
No.
Nope. Okay. All right.
So you guys, Alexa's saying that she apologizes. She won't be able to have her camera on, and hopefully CD as well. Analysis of a crime with CD. Hopefully, retired police officer CD will be joining us as well. He's going to try, but we always know that he's family first, as well. And Alexa, she has a sick young one over there going on. But anyways, you guys, thank you, Deb, of course, for coming.
He's coming.
Thanks for asking me.
Yeah, thank you, Alexa. And again, so this is, you know what? We're just kind of maybe going to go around. I know, like for myself, I personally have not read all the 136 pages plus the other documents that came along with it. Why, you ask? Well, obviously, I've been getting messages all day as well. My husband got home. I was trying to do stuff. And so I wanted to go through more about the crime scene today. And we're not going to be sitting there boring y'all with 136 pages of it. You guys can go read that.
We're not?
No, not going to do that. That's just to me. It's like an interesting read when somebody wants to spend it, but I'm not going to sit there. Other people have probably done lives and read the whole thing and stuff like that. I wanted to go through the crime scene, the runes, and the whole Odin thing, and then just talk amongst ourselves and with you guys, of course, about some thoughts going on with this drop. So we did tell you that with Delphi, that we stepped back. Not that we don't care about Delphi, because obviously we do, but we just wanted to work on other cases because we felt like there was no relevant information coming out.
Right.
This to me is, and now there is. I'm actually very excited in a sense with the information. Most people know the crime scene has meant a lot to me personally, whereas other people have talked, worked on other things with it. But the crime scene and just having knowledge that, okay, so it's about factual. Okay, guys. So that whole 136 pages is from the defense. Actually, Adam, you know what? Let's start with you for a second. When you saw Delphi drop, okay, of this information, what were you thinking? Like just generically, really.
Well, I mean, I have to say, when I woke up this morning, I did not. Well, when I went to bed last night, I did not think to myself, you know what, I should review all of the information I have about Brad Holder for tomorrow. But when I woke up this morning, albeit it was at like 9 a.m., I slept in. I had received a link to a Reddit post, which I don't go on Reddit very often, but I clicked on it, and it was these a selection of these court documents. So I immediately emailed Carroll County Clerk's office, and
Thank you.
they graciously, within 5 minutes, emailed me all of the documents. And so I started going through them, and I was like, okay, coffee. Then let me start looking at some of this. But my initial thought was, we'd anticipated there may be some sort of information coming out in the first half of September, which is September 18th. So technically not the first half, but I was, of course, intrigued, and I dived in. First thing I read was the Frank's motion here, and then I went into the 136-page document, and I was like, okay, this is going to require a little bit of concentration. So,
Yes.
and being a little ADHD, it's not always the easiest thing for me, especially when I was on my way to work. So I did my best. I did finish all 136 pages today. But my initial thought was, what is this? Like, where did this come from? And my feelings evolved throughout reading the documents, which I'll go into as we talk, but I don't want to take up too much time. So, but that was my first thought, was like, what the WTF?
Yep. Okay, Deb, what about you?
Well, I was asleep. I was sound asleep. I woke up, the phone was going crazy, and the first person who called me was Frank Meister. Have you seen the documents? I wish I could do his voice. He's got that low voice. So yeah, and then of course I noticed that Aspen had posted the link as well. I looked at it, I started going through it, and my first impression was, this is a story that they're concocting based on the facts they've got, right? That it's not necessarily, it could be, but not necessarily the story, but it works for them. And, I think that, there are obviously some things that look like runes, that type of thing. We talked about that how long ago? Back before Blaine passed away.
Well,
We had him on to talk about it.
I was going to, honestly, Deb, can I just quickly say that? You guys, October 16th, right, Adam? October 16th will be 1 year when our good friend Blaine passed. And I couldn't help but think of him so much again today, because Blaine would have loved being here. Blaine was our, from the criminal aspect to the runes we were talking about, he brought us a lot of knowledge. And I miss that dude so much.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
But anyway, yes.
He and Andrew gave me a deep dive over these ruins. That's how I knew about this F ruin from all three of us. That's how we knew about the F ruin from a year ago, was because of Blaine and Andrew. Or at least the meaning of it.
Yeah.
Right. And we heard rumors that it was, at first there were rumors that it was a K years ago, and then it evolved into, no, it was an F. And of course, we talked about that at length over a year ago when I was still co-hosting with you guys. So that's what I woke up to, and that's what I initially thought was, there could be runes and all that stuff. There's obviously factual, but they've used that to paint their story, whether that story is true or not.
Correct. Now, we all remember that there was a misdirection that was said to us as well. So it could very well be that it was. Okay, I'm just going to say this, and then Deb, if you're not finished, and then we'll go to Alexa. But I just want to say this: I personally, without reading the whole thing, I can't see why Brad Holder would be this, moron, idiot that would not take down all of those things that would implicate him if he was involved. He has himself at the gym that day. So I just can't, you know what I mean? And why would you leave out very much incriminating evidence? But anyways, that's a whole different ball of wax that we can talk about later. So,
Yeah.
is there anything more that you wanted to add before we go to Alexa?
No, not at this time.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be talking about it regardless.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, what about you, Alexa?
Well, honestly, I mean, like I said, my kids were home from school today, so it was a hectic morning. I noticed that I had some emails and some messages, but I honestly didn't look until Shelly actually messaged me and said, "Hey, you know what's going on," and I was like, "What?" And then I went and I started opening, and then I got the email, and then I started reading, and I was like, "Okay." So, I mean, if it's a story, I guess it paints a story for the defense. I think some of the stuff in that is described is true. I don't necessarily believe that everything that defense is saying as a fact. I think that's what they want to go, like Deb and Adam were saying. I think that's what they're trying to make it as, that this is going to be the story and deviated towards that. But I mean, we'll get into that, but I honestly personally don't believe. I mean, they left some stuff out too. So I think everything that they put, it was whatever was convenient for them.
Right.
So that's about it. No, go ahead.
I would say, and like Alexa said, they left some things out, and when you read the 136-page document, it's a compelling read. If you don't know anything about this case, you would read this as, wow, how did this happen? But when you do have 6 years of following this case, and you do have the information that most of us have from having followed this case at least somewhat, they did leave things out. And much like when you write a affidavit for a search warrant, you include the things that are most pertinent to getting the search warrant that you want. The defense team is going to include the things that are the most pertinent to upholding the things they're trying to say. So there were a lot of things that were left out of this this document.
Did they forget? Just quickly, Adam, did they forget about the part where he told his wife that he did it, and did they forget about that part?
Right, or 5 or 6 times that he admitted to it. There's not one mention in this document, or
right.
We'll go over, I'm sure, all the inconsistencies, but upon first read, it's a very compelling story.
Right.
Yeah. I think for somebody that doesn't know the details, it kind of makes you think, step back, and it's like, it kind of makes sense. And then when you look at the person, you go, oh, but he kind of looks like, and people start throwing like that. And I was like, no. And a lot of people were going down that route. And I'm like, no. This is exactly what the defense is trying to do.
Right.
Create that. And that F, and I said to somebody, I said, that F, what is the F half of?
Right.
An A. That could be an A that was not completed.
Right.
Right.
Well,
and the most important takeaway that I had overall from the entire thing is that if I put myself in the defense's position, the defense is doing their job. They're trying to cast reasonable doubt on the fact that their client committed this crime.
Yeah.
But if I put myself in the defense's position, I could have used 6, 5, 4, 3, 2-year-old investigative reports to implicate any one of the endless suspects they've had in this case.
Exactly.
I could have used Chadwell. I could have used all of the documents that are in the file for Daniel Nations. And I could have created a storyline that was just as compelling as this, that implicated those people, or one of those people, as to being the suspect that committed this crime.
Right.
the defense went with the Brad Holder route and the Odinism route rather than the more obvious Ron Logan route. But if they had gone the route of Ron Logan or the route of Daniel Nations or Chadwell, we would all be now discussing those people. So
Yeah.
this is not a 100% fact-based document.
Right,
This is a
absolutely.
document written by the defense to provide evidence that their client didn't commit this crime.
Well,
They did
and
depose Holman, though. I like that part. They did
Yeah.
depose him at least.
also, in fairness, the prosecution is going to do the same thing on their side. Okay.
Exactly.
Correct.
So we're not saying don't believe the defense any of what they say or they're bad. They're just doing their job, like Aspen said, and the prosecution will also come back with their end of it. You got to
Right.
look at all the stories, put that together.
Exactly.
They don't have quite the luxury that the defense does as far as at
Right.
this point in the case, because the defense gets to make their argument in these
Mhm.
court filings, and the prosecution most likely won't respond until
Yeah.
the Frank's motion is granted, which I expect it to be.
Yeah. Yeah, we want everything to be looked at, right?
Sorry. Anyways, let us just welcome. Okay, so we have CDs in the house. Thank you, buddy.
Woohoo!
You got
Hey,
it.
CD.
I
Hi,
would have been
CD,
on
how are you?
time, but
Has it got a
it's
mustache?
been a while since I signed it to my MacBook, so
Oh.
I got signed. I couldn't get in. I was totally locked out.
And
But I'm here. Let's do 'em.
good. I just want to do one thing.
That's
I
the
want to
dog. If you hear the noises, it's not me. It's the dog.
no problem.
She'd be in a night. It's raining, so she'd be in a nightmare.
One sec, CD. I just want to thank Carrie. Carrie, thank you very much for the PayPal the other day. I didn't see it till a few days later because I hadn't logged into. I hadn't logged into my PayPal, but I don't even know what email that I have that it goes to. Actually, one of them anyway. Anyways, I hadn't really logged into it, so I just want to give you a shout out, Carrie. Thank you so much for your generosity. And if that's the same Carrie, because that was from like Calvaconte as well. And anyways, blessings to that. Now, so love you. Thank you. And thank you to anyone else that has, of course, bought coffee and different things over the time. You guys know we appreciate you. At the end of the day, we want justice for Abby and Libby, but you have to appreciate the members and the different people that do support monetarily wise or whatever. But CD, what was your thoughts, bud, on this whole document drop? That's what we were kind of each saying.
Hold on, before CD starts, I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Okay, Alexa.
Yeah.
All right.
It's just a ton of information that, I mean, listen, a lot of it was out there. It just was put out that it was all false. A lot of it, it's all there. The marking on the trip. Yeah. But I mean, I think this puts a lot of doubt in, I don't know. I don't want to say, I don't know. I just, I don't know how to describe it. It's very interesting. It's a lot that we knew. I feel bad for the families tonight because this is brutal. It's
The
brutal stuff.
description.
Yeah.
It's brutal stuff. People don't get it.
Mhm. Yeah.
The sticks were true. The kind of like a crown was true. It's just all true, and it's painful stuff.
Yeah. So besides their story to me, CD, my thing is this. I'm peeling a lot of that away. I'll read the whole thing later, but for me, it's about the facts. What was at the crime scene? Okay, photos. Okay, this is how the girls were placed. We heard a lot of this stuff, like you said. Some of it we didn't know specifically, but to me, it's kind of like when it's the when you're using the actual evidence of how that crime scene looked and stuff like that, the visual, first of all, hopefully the families don't read it, but maybe they want to. Either way, it's a brutal read for the families of Abby and Libby, for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
the
anyway,
lid's off. The lid is off. So I mean,
Yes.
it's terrible. But it was going to come out at trial anyway. I mean, it's going to come. It's going to come. There's a lot of interesting things I took away from that. The depositions, the Holder character. I mean, he's a character in itself. He just is. There's weird things in those woods. I mean, I have pictures of. I don't even know how to describe the pictures I have of what's in those woods. It's just like a wooden structure with chains attached. Just there's weird things going on there that were going on there.
Yeah, I think that's further down by Wilson Bridge, though.
Right. You're talking about Wilson.
It could be, but it's all connected. I mean, it's
Could
it's just
Still weird. Yeah.
weird. It's just weird. It's weird stuff. It is.
That was at Eric Williams. Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I'll say this: a cop gave a lot of that info. That's exactly what I'll say. That's there's some stuff there that came from somebody within, and that's what piqued the defense to make them start digging.
So the name.
You could probably think of who might want to blow this up. There's a certain somebody.
Well, Lewis and Lewis couldn't be here tonight, guys. But Lewis reminded me.
He's making his fabulous chicken tonight, probably. It's busy.
Yeah, right. His air fryer.
In the air fryer.
He's air
Right.
fried right now. Can't use any more power. Got that 3,000 watt going.
But in the whole documents, there was the name Greg Ferenzi. Now, he was the one that was killed by what's his name, Shane Meehan back in 2021. It was like an ambush. And so, I mean, you kind of can't help it because he was listed in these documents as an FBI agent that was there. And yet in 2021, his life was taken by an ambush. By actually, Shane worked in the correctional at the time, the correctional facility or whatever. And stuff like that is kind of a little bit crazy to me because in my head I'm like, so did he get taken out because he had information, because he was going to give information? I don't know, because
anything's possible.
Well, I was going to say, I'm not going to get into that too much tonight, because at some point here, like Lewis will come on and we can talk. Like, this isn't a couple hour topic. This is like multiple layers of things to talk about. And there's just too much in here to talk about.
I'll say this, I'm not saying that it's factual story that they're putting out there, but things do happen like that. I'm not saying it's factual, but things like that do happen.
They do.
And then you hear about, I didn't know Brad Holder and the other guy were in Afghanistan, and the one guy suffered PTSD. It's, brutal stuff. I have friends that were in Iraq and Afghanistan, and, they still deal with it today. Tough stuff.
Yeah.
I personally, I know that you guys, and this is where it's going to be each to their own Delphi channel and stuff like that, right? We're going to say stuff. We're going to each think stuff. Other channels are going to think stuff, say stuff. And then the other channels are going to have the big conspiracy and Brad Holder told you so and blah, blah, blah. I personally, myself, even just looking at Brad's, his Facebook, honestly, I never went down his trail. It wasn't something that I really, when you look at it and you hear the name of Logan Holder, Brad Holder, and stuff like that. But I'm in my head, CD, personally. I personally don't think that he has anything to do with it. But he's
a weird character. I mean, he's just he's a strange guy. I mean, does that make him a murderer? No, but he's he's a strange guy.
But you'd have to be a complete idiot to leave all that evidence up there. Like, do you think if you go to his Facebook, there's the 3 runes that are on his Facebook. He's part of Odin, like many other people. There's a ton of
self-admittedly. In these documents, he talked. I mean, in the little segment that they included of his interview, he mentions that. Are you going to mention that if you left Odin ruins at the crime scene? There's so many things about Brad Holder that don't add up to him being the killer. I know it's sensational and it's new and it's fresh, and people are like, "Oh wait, I didn't think about that until now." But when you really
I'll give
sit
you
down and
one
break it
piece.
down, it doesn't make sense.
Not related. God, sorry, I'm cutting you
Go ahead.
off. Sorry.
No, you're
Not
fine.
related to holder, but related to the bullet, right? Or the unspent round that was found. They did it wrong. If that's all
Right.
factual, the way they wrote it up, they did it totally wrong. We had a guy one time. He was arrested for heroin and crack. Ended up bringing him back. Have a guy in a cell who was there for 30 days, and he wanted me. And he's like, "Listen, I heard the guy last night talking about it. He dug behind him, and he basically buried drugs from his ass crack into the dirt." So we went down there. We had video cameras set up. Every time we moved a piece of dirt, camera was there. There was, video camera was there. Photos were taken. Found the drugs. That's the way you do it. They didn't do that. And let me tell you something. That couldn't get that thrown out of court. I don't care what anybody's going to say. That can absolutely throw that bullet out, because now you have no chain of custody. You have nothing. You have a bullet that even if it came from his gun, even if it's 100% attached to his gun, that could get thrown out, because there's zero chain of custody. There's no documentation. There's no photos. There's nothing. So that hurts that unspent bullet. So we'll see where that goes. But that's big.
Can I just cut in right here, because I
Please.
saw an important question in the chat, and it was Grandma wanted to know, what is a Frank's hearing? A Frank's hearing is a proceeding wherein the court is asked to determine if a police officer is involved in lying or obtaining a search warrant.
Right.
So that's what we're talking about tonight. That's what this document is for.
Right. And the defense requesting a Frank's hearing is no surprise to anyone, I don't think, right? I mean,
no.
I honestly was surprised it took them this long. I know that they filed 2 separate now suppressions to conceal, or motions to suppress the findings, both of which read basically the same. One of which was in May, and one of which was in last week. So I was surprised that the Frank's hearing request took this long to request. I didn't foresee them going the Brad Holder route. I had heard a rumor of it, but I didn't listen to it, or I didn't think there was any validity to it, to be honest, because I was like, really? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
There's been YouTubers pushing that guy for a long time.
Right.
Long time.
Robert Lindsay was saying it in 2017.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I don't know. I just don't like that Lee gets the deciding factor on everything.
As much as I hate to give him credit.
Credit?
Who, that?
I don't think so, because he's also talked to the defense.
Yeah.
Robert Lindsay?
Yeah.
Robert Lindsay has? Yeah, well, I mean, look at him. Yeah, remember that? Listen, he exploited himself on here that night. He did himself in the dirt. You know?
Right.
That was an interesting night.
There was also another YouTuber cited in the document.
Yeah.
Was I got like 30 pages left. I'm at like 90 something.
He's from the Southern Hemisphere.
Okay, you're killing me. Southern Hemisphere. Oh. Okay.
Keep it that way.
No, I got you now. Yeah. Well, I don't think he's coming back. I don't. What did it say about him? Why is he in there?
After Allen's arrest, he tipped in Brad Holder as being involved because of the Odinism thing.
How come we never talked about that for 2 years?
And the defense used
when he had a big following, how come we didn't talk about it? This is what I'm talking about. You give people a platform and they just spew shit all day. And I'm back. Summer's over. I'm back.
Okay. Why?
Been a long summer, but it was a good one. The kids had a great time. I'll tell you, I went to it was about maybe 2 years ago. I went to a wedding, and I guess it was like pagan kind of thing. And I kept bumping my wife, and I'm going, "You hear that?" She's like, "Shut up." I go, "No, that lady's talking about the earth. Do you hear what's going on? I go, this is witchcraft. She goes, shut up. She's like banging it to me. I go, I'm telling you. The lady was a psychic medium doing it. She was the minister, but it was all about like the sun, the water, the sticks. I'm like, holy shit, what's happening here? Yep, that was a weird one. Sometimes you get invited to weddings and you don't know what you're getting into.
True. All I need to know is there an open bar?
It was an open bar, yeah. And I was smoking with that lady outside and laughing hysterical. You know, I was like, what was that all about? She's like, oh, I'm a medium. I go, where'd they find you? It was just a strange thing. You know, I was waiting for a little God thing, and it was more like the sun and the moon. I'm like, wow, this is intense shit here.
Crunchy.
Let everybody know I start teaching religion Wednesday. So, you know, say a prayer for me because that's going to be interesting.
Cool. Before you guys get started on this next thing, can I just do a little plug for Flora sweatshirts? Go ahead.
Yeah.
I got a new Flora Fire.
Oh, that's nice.
Sweatshirt. You can buy those online.
That's awesome.
Deb, just drop the link in the chat.
Yeah.
Let me look for
That's
it.
that's totally worthy of a link, you know?
Yeah.
I saw the mom on Meow's page, and man, that woman, she's a strong person, because not many people would be able to do what she's able to do.
Oh, Galen, Oh, you mean Meow?
Yeah.
Meow and Galen,
Yeah. No, but I'm talking about Meow's. It's great that she's got a relationship with her, but Galen, to be able to, you know, just the whole thing is just brutal.
I'm just going to move CD up there because Alexa's got her camera off anyway. Yeah, so absolutely, you guys. I mean, Flora Fire. Like I said, I saw the article the other day. Something about, you know, settlement kind of working its way there and different things. And again, there's other channels that really know the flora. Like, we know the gist of the Flora Fire. I couldn't sit there and go in depthly into it. I've, you know, not like Meow, Zendong, and you know, I'm sure Deb, like I said, knows a lot more than I do and stuff like that. You know, we have Garrett Kurtz, we have Flint Farmer, we have Garrett Kurtz, of course, for Ray Hanish, you know, and the different things going on as well. For me personally, I just want to say that in lack of a better words, I feel very much rejuvenated with Delphi again, you know, because it was getting very stagnant to me, you know, and for me and Adam, we have to feel it, you know. We didn't want to just keep regurgitating things that you don't know if our rumors are true. There was no place that I felt like I could go anymore besides wait for information. This is a lot of information. Regardless about go ahead, Adam, or whoever said. Did you say something?
I just said it is. That's all.
Yeah.
It's a lot of info, and it's go ahead.
Yeah, you know, for me, like I said, I've always been about, okay, well, what's at the crime scene? We were told it was a misdirection, that it was something that was looked one way, but it led to nothing. And, you know, so that's where, again, you guys, everyone has their own brain power to use to think their own thoughts. You know, if you want to be out in outer space, head there all you want. Don't care, right? Because we all have our own thoughts and feelings about the Delphi case. But at the end of the day, we have one common goal, and that's that we want justice for Abby and Libby, you know. And that's where, to me, it doesn't matter what other people's thoughts are or whatever, because we all have the right to have our thoughts, even if they're from La La Land. But, you know, we have the same common goal.
Can I mention something really quickly as far as, like, Deb has shown the sweatshirt, and it made me think about the fact that there were many things in the documents that were filed today. And I understand Richard Allen's defense team is doing their job, but there's a level of tactfulness that can be used in even in law. For example, there's an area in these documents where Richard Allen's defense team explicitly requests that the document that provides all of the graphic details of the crime scene, they implicitly request it be included in the public released portion of the filed documents. They could have requested that to be held confidential, like they did many other things, mainly the evidence they provided. They didn't do that. They specifically asked that it be included in the publicly released files. To me, that
they should, though.
shows
They should.
that they're. To me, that shows that they're using legal tactics, which they should, but they're also using public opinion and public pressure in their defense tactic for Richard Allen. That's fine. I feel like it's tacky that they did that. They accused Anna of being basically the reason that the girls were unalived. They accused Becky Patty of being the reason that one of the investigators investigating the case even learned about Odinism. They included graphic details of the crime scene. They also accused Brad Holder of basically murder, not only of Abby and Libby, but also they basically accused him of killing the Flora girls. Without any evidence, in my opinion, to support it.
What I'll say to that is they have to get it out there, because what they're trying to show is that it wasn't only one person. That's what they're hanging it on. And without the horrifying details being out there, it's just a he said, she said thing. I get it. I mean, it's horrifying. You know, this is why people need to know. I mean, this is, some people, you know, think it's entertainment and they're on here giggling and being an asshole. This is real. This is pain that's every day, and this is more pain for both families that this drops today. You know, just a dagger that keeps hitting them. You know, it's tough.
Hey, let's ask a quick question, and we'll come back to you, Cece, on this one. So someone asked earlier, do we all still believe that Richard Allen, well, at least is the BG on the bridge?
Yes.
Yes. Adam?
I think Richard Allen is not only BG. I think Richard Allen single-handedly took the lives of Liberty German and Abigail Williams.
Oh, okay, so you think single-handedly. CD, single-handedly? I don't think so. I still
don't think so.
Me neither.
And they just say that because look at him.
Yeah.
You know, Libby was almost the same size as him. You know, not to say that in a bad way. This man is a small person. For a man, he's 5'4". He's small. I mean, does he look strong to you guys?
No.
I don't know.
Well,
I don't know. I mean,
back then he was a lot.
Listen, to kill with a knife, you don't have to be strong. I'm talking about to move
or to have a gun in your
bodies
hand
that are dead, absolute dead
have
weight.
a gun.
And then, you know,
or to
basically dress one of them. It's not easy, you know. When I change my toddler in the middle of the night, if he pees the bed, it's a nightmare. He's 30 pounds. You know,
and
so
your
I mean,
toddler,
you have to
your
think about it.
toddler's small and he's strong, right?
Yeah, he's a strong little shit. He is. But you know, do you know what I mean? It's like, it's hard to believe the cases I've worked that this man did this all by himself. It's very hard for me to believe it. If it was a 6-foot person, I'm not saying a 6-foot massive person. I'm just saying even 5'10". This man is a small. Look at him when he was laying in that Walmart thing. You know, if you covered his face, you think it could be a child. You know, he's a little person. And I'm not just saying that to defend him at all. I'm just saying I don't think he was there alone. I don't. I have a hard time believing he was able to do this alone. And the spent round, I'll say it again, I feel that spent round was because he handed the gun to somebody else and they cycled it by accident. And the round that was in the chamber came flying out. And the adrenaline, he didn't think about it.
Okay.
CD, is this the first time we've ever disagreed?
I don't know. Could be. Could be. I mean, no, but seriously, in all seriousness, you think about what I said the morning of you know, Halloween, whatever the hell it was. Halloween, right? It was Halloween. when they
28th.
arrested him. And what I say?
26th,
I said,
they arrested
you know, I hope this isn't just a quick political thing. And they're going to say it's not over, and that's exactly what we heard. You know, and the prosecution saying there could be somebody else. I just don't see this man doing this by himself. I just don't. I mean, there's too many pieces. There's too many pieces. You know, it's just, I don't
Tentacles.
know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deb, so sorry, Solo. And I know that you believe it's RA on the bridge.
Yeah, I totally believe it's Richard Allen on the bridge. I lean towards he did it alone. I have seen some things recently that I'm keeping an open mind about.
Right.
But I don't
If he
think
did it alone, why wasn't his DNA all over them? You know what I mean? I'm not trying to argue with it. I don't know. It's
yeah.
Well,
it's
finish.
tough from go ahead.
Let me finish and then let's talk about that.
And then we got to go to Alexa too.
Yeah. I lean towards he did alone, and I don't think that would be difficult to do it alone. He had a gun to make the girls comply. If he had disabled one of them because they ran and he hit them or something, then he's only dealing with one.
Mm-hmm. If he hits Libby, how's he carrying?
In my theory, if Libby was helping Abby, he could have then surprised her and taken her out very easily. So I don't think that it's difficult. And just because you're small doesn't mean you're not strong. My daughter is 5'1". She played on a men's soccer team in college, and she would put you on your backside. So
yeah.
I don't see Richard Allen putting too many people on their backside, though. I just don't. You know?
Okay.
Can I mention something really quickly?
Okay.
Sorry. No, go ahead. I want to give Alexa her. I'm sorry.
I just want Alexa to have her say first.
Where's Alexa? Where is she? Is she here?
Alexa.
Yeah.
Come on, lady.
That was Deb.
She's probably lying back in bed with her child.
Okay.
She's back down there somewhere.
Since Alexa's not here, I'm going to say really quickly. There was something else that when it comes to could someone do this in the amount of time that was given, they multiple times in the documents refer to this as being a 17-minute to an hour and 17-minute time frame. Mm-hmm. Nowhere in any other place has anyone alleged 117 minutes, or 1 hour and 17 minutes, because if you do the math, 2:13 p.m. to 3:57 p.m. is an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes. It's not an hour and 17 minutes. So first of all, I think a single person could do it in that amount of time. But they had the time wrong in the document.
Yeah.
I was going to say they had 2:30 to 3:30. And again, so we got kind of 2 on 2 here because we don't still know what Alexa. I think she's multiple, but regardless, I'm on the same thing. CD, can you look at the question by Sees Through? And it says
about the adrenaline.
No, it says CD. Why would Leggett? What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come? Thank you, Erna Wilson. Would Leggett really outright lie about what witness told him? Wouldn't it be on video interview? What car?
It's not about him. It's not about him lying. It's just he was the deciding factor with this case from the beginning. It was his case, but you got FBI involved. I've worked with FBI. I was sworn in DEA for Operation Raw Deal, wacky name. Arnold Schwarzenegger, steroids, kilos from China. You got to be able to work with other agencies. Doesn't matter where you work. And he kind of, just did what he did what he wanted. He did what he wanted. I'm not saying that he did it on, because he was covering up anything. It's just he had the deciding say if he felt that somebody wasn't a viable suspect. He just, we're not going that route. That's it. I've dealt with people like that, and I've battled them, and I'm going to win because I'm just going to keep going until you give in. You're going to give me something. We're going to meet somewhere. You have to have an open mind being an investigator. You can't just go your own way and not take other people's, viewpoints. It's not going to get you anywhere. And that's, yeah, the FBI aiming at Ron, and I don't think Ron Logan did this. I said it over and over again.
Not mentioned one
You
time.
had a lot of different. Go. What do you say?
It wasn't
Not
mentioned
mentioned.
one time. He
Not
said,
mentioned one
No.
time in these documents, nor was Keegan Klein.
nor was KD, darn it.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, CD.
Yeah, it's just no, it's all right. And somebody asked about adrenaline. Yeah, you get adrenaline, but then you get a dump, and you got nothing, and you're spent. Just like a fight. You ever fight somebody for 3 minutes? You got nothing left. Your heart's pounding out of your chest. You have zero energy. You can't even lift your arms up. That's just the way it is. Who?
Koberger.
Burger? Koberger. That's another one that's getting a little wacky over there too. It's getting a little wacky.
Andrew's in the house, guys. Give a shout out.
Hey, Andrew.
Andrew, of course, like we were talking about earlier, is we met him through Blaine, and again, and I'd asked Andrew, even though
Who passed away? Somebody passed away.
Remember our friend Blaine? Remember Blaine? He died of an OD last year.
Was he at a funeral today? You said something about a funeral.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, something about you're not detective. Come on,
this
Sonny.
one. Been
busy with funerals. Sorry for your loss, Andrew.
Yeah, I haven't looked in and see if he had answered me in my messenger or not, but yeah. So sorry, buddy. I don't know who it is or whatever, but either way, obviously, any loss is a sad loss. So nice to have you here, and prayers to whose ever family and friends are hurting today.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Again, so thank you for joining us. It's like my head is just spinning right now with not being fully able to read the thing, busy with information. And that's kind of what is we're going to kind of go through today. Like I said, like the runes, and this one right here, it's kind of like I grabbed the wording from like page 28 to 30 or something like that. Again, there's just too much to talk about all in one sitting. You just can't do it. I don't want to just hear.
Well, because that's 137 pages. It's a lot of info.
136.
And they break it. They go very in depth at breaking part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. But they're very in depth with what they're doing. And just you throw as much shit as you can on the wall, and you want to create doubt.
Let me just
the bullet to me is a big problem, and I don't believe that they would lie that there's no photos of them getting it or whatnot. So that's a big problem. I think Charmaine said something about the bullet, and the bullet's going to be an issue. Unspent round will be an issue at court. It will, and just the way it goes.
Start a poll. So we'll ask this again for the poll. I'm just going to put multiple people, or single. So multiple people, of course.
I would put Richard Allen alone or suspects.
Well, Richard Allen alone, or what'd you say?
Sorry, I'm back.
Hey,
there she is.
I think I should be able to be okay.
Hey, she's on cam. Look, she's on cam because I'm here. She wanted to say hi.
Yeah.
It's been like 3 months, Alexa. It's been like 3 months, maybe.
I know, right? No,
Summer's
it's just
good.
I moved because he's sleeping. My son is sick, so he wanted to be with me tonight. So
it's not good.
Okay. Sorry, I look like crap, but
I think you look
Hey,
good.
Deb, do you hear a lot about Odin's there in Indiana?
Thank you, Deb.
Deb, are there a lot of do you hear a lot about Odin's in Indiana?
I had never heard about Odinism until this case. And I've lived in Indiana my entire life. So,
Yeah. Alexa.
I visited to that area. Sorry, Sonny. Go ahead.
Oh no, I just wanted to hear just quickly, Alexa, because we kind of all went around. So do you believe that Richard Allen is the BG? I mean,
I
I'm getting feedback.
I do. I really do.
And do you
I
believe
don't-
that there was? Go ahead.
I don't think, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't think anything that was said in here changed my mind about him. I
What about?
think, uh-huh.
What about? Yeah. So it was kind of like a 2-question thing. So BG, Richard Allen, and if there was more than one person. So not just like, do you think Richard Allen was
I
solo?
always thought that there had to be somebody else.
Yeah.
But and I always believed that maybe KK was somewhere somehow involved, and this is how RA knew where the girls were going to be, because I think that this was targeted and premeditated. But when nothing happened with KK, I am starting to believe that maybe he is a lone wolf. Maybe he did this by himself. And a lot of people are saying there's no way a man that is 5'4" can do this by himself. Of course they can. Because he had.
I'm moving those. I don't see it.
You don't see it? Well, they had. I mean, the girls were scared, and then with the gun.
No, I'm not.
I know. Can I ask a question mainly for Stevie and Alexa, because they both had experience in these areas? And for anyone that doesn't know, CD is a retired law enforcement officer from the NYPD. Alexa is a crime scene profiler, graphologist, and body language expert who has 16 years experience in the field. But my question is that, if Keegan Klein were involved in this crime, wouldn't it be highly more likely the defense would have been putting forth documents alleging his involvement versus someone else's?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, without a doubt.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they would have brought him under the. I mean, if he put it this way, and this is the one thing that I was sitting down the other day and thinking, really, if Richard Allen would have, if he wasn't the only person involved, he would have said it already. He would have thrown the other person under the bus first and say, hey, maybe I just walked into there, but I wasn't involved. You didn't even find my DNA. He would have pointed to somebody else. So the fact that he didn't say anything is starting to lead me to believe that he acted alone. Mm-hmm. He is the only person that did it. So, I mean, that's what it's leading to. I always believe that maybe he had worked, or maybe he catfished her somewhere somehow, because I don't believe that he woke up that day and he saw them and say, hey, I want to K them, unalive them, because it doesn't make sense. He did it with a purpose. I always believe it was Libby targeted, but it had to be for a reason. So what was that reason is what we're trying to do. I mean, we might never know because they don't need motive. But hopefully...
Hypothetically, he's in jail. He can't protect his family. If somebody who is more connected and doesn't have a problem killing people, would you talk? I've had so many people who had the opportunity to talk and they wouldn't. And it wasn't like, I'm not going to be a rat. It was more so that their wife and daughter are out there alone. Cops aren't going to protect, in their eyes, cops aren't going to protect my family. I'm in here for, this.
And that was alleged in the documents today.
What?
That
was at the end? Because I got like 36 pages left.
That was where they kind of played into the Odin prison guards being the reason that Richard Allen's too afraid to admit other people are involved, and being too afraid to bring it up because he's being threatened by these Odinites or Odinists. I'm not sure which it is.
Well, the patches are a little bizarre to me, because I don't see these two attorneys lying about what they saw, because that could all bite them in their ass, with ethics and whatnot. If they saw it, I hope they took a picture of it, because I mean, listen, corrections is much different than regular law enforcement. If we had an unauthorized patch on, we'd be in some shit.
But I'm sure they still the cameras. I mean, exactly. If they had that patch on day,
there has to be something.
It had to be something.
And it has to be something.
Just many things in this case. I've heard a lot of people say that patches that were presented in this evidence are, yes, they're Odin patches, but they're also really common correctional officer patches that people wear. I've also heard them that that it's not common.
But why would an Odin
So
patch be a regular patch?
But did you look at the pictures? I mean, they basically say, I'd have to pull them up.
Can you put it up? Can you show me it?
Page 120.
Yeah, I'm at like 90, I think 93
I like
or
printed
something.
everything in segments because I have to read everything in segments.
Right. And so, like I said,
skip.
you are correct. I mean, clearly those would be on camera. So, I mean, I wouldn't think they'd lie about it.
Yeah, but
how common of a practice is it that prison guards wear patches or insignia that don't even represent something related to themselves, as opposed to just being symbol?
It's just you're against your uniform.
Page 121. I hate people. I mean, honestly, I don't see a guard being able to wear this in public.
And I don't either.
Unless they have it on their outer carrier, where they're popping it off and on, and nobody's paying attention. I find it hard to believe that these patches are. It doesn't make. But then you got an ethics problem with these lawyers that they're making up. It doesn't make sense. In Odin, we trust. Why would that be on their uniform?
Right. Or I don't like people, or whatever it says.
Yeah, and I hate people.
It doesn't make any sense.
People, and I agree. But I personally don't know the correctional world well enough to know whether that would be common or not. So, we'd have to know someone that was,
two of them were bosses, right?
Westville, to know whether that was normal or not.
I mean, especially if they were like and you should know more of the city. If they were former law enforcement, I know that they can wear their insignias.
Right. Andrew.
Several insignias.
Who?
But I don't.
What do you mean?
Like if they were, former law enforcement, the correctional officers.
They can't wear police stuff inside.
No, but I mean
the
jail. Patch. Like a patch, like they can wear like an NYPD patch.
For me to wear my 9/11, because I was in order to wear your 9/11 bar, you had to be there and you had to have it authorized. You
No. I'm saying that's what you had to. I mean, of course, you had to be a former law enforcement. You can wear, your patches. I mean,
Andrew Bess is in chat, and Andrew has served time in both county jail and in prison in Indiana. Andrew, maybe you can tell us. Did you ever see any correctional officers while you were inside that wore insignia representing the Odins or any other groups? Or is that just completely off base?
It's a great question.
It's strange. It's very strange. It doesn't make sense.
I was going to say, Andrew, if you do have time to join us, I can send you the link. If you don't, then just let me know in chat here. But if you do and want to come talk for a minute, feel free, and I'll drop you the link in Messenger. Okay, go on, guys. Oh, just quickly.
That's why I think it. Is it an outer carrier, or is it like they're going home little, blue zip up jacket? I have one that's got like my union on it. I don't know. It's very strange you'd be out of uniform. I mean, that's just what it is. You have a patch that doesn't have anything to do with the jail, you're going to get written up.
So Jen C says, I have done contract work in one Indiana prison, and uniform was so strict that nothing could be added.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jen.
I mean, down to your tie clip, it has to be a certain tie clip. Just the way it goes. But could it be their exit jacket when they're walking out of the jail with their jacket on? That's possible. I just don't think the lawyers would make this up, because it would bite them in the ass with ethics when it comes down to it.
Yeah, I don't think it would be on the uniform. I think it would be on the outer, something outer. There's no way they can get away with that.
Well, I mean, they mentioned in one part that they put it in their pocket. Which to me,
that means they're slapping it on. But that means they're slapping it onto their outer carrier. It's Velcro. That makes sense to me. They're representing, but they're pulling it off and putting it away.
Right. Which is why so easily on the 17th of August, the defense is alleging that the insignia was not there, even though on the 10th it had been there. or no, on the 10th.
Yeah, because well, you got to remember, you got 2 rows of Velcro that you could just slap it on. You know, right. I don't know. It's very strange. It's very strange.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Awesome, Andrew.
Did Andrew say if he could come on or not?
Yeah, he said I'll join.
He said he would join.
Okay. Question. And this is how I took it. But I mean, obviously, English is not my first language, and maybe I took it differently. Is it me, or is it written very basic? Like, I don't think even the language, the verb, anything. I don't think. I mean, to me, it doesn't seem like a lawyer writing it. Am I?
I have to agree.
Things? Am I too sensitive?
To agree. Yeah, I agree 100%. Reading it, I felt the same way. I felt like it was very sensationalized and almost.
It's probably like the paralegal writing it.
Probably.
It almost sounded like somebody I've heard speaking about the case before. So.
Yeah, it wasn't properly written. It almost seemed like somebody opened the word and dictated, but they didn't write. It's almost like they speak, but not how they write. Well, and I know that because sometimes I do that.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I thought was interesting was in the later part of the 136-page document, the defense goes into detail about Dan Dolan, who was the conservation officer that took Richard Allen's statement when he was first interviewed. Dan Dolan is apparently labeled Richard Allen as Richard Allen Whiteman, which is the clerical error everyone talks about when they talk about why Richard Allen's tip got buried. But in doing the fact that they threw into question Dan Dolan's ability to write a report correctly, and then raised the question of whether he could be trusted because he made that clerical error. More than once in this document, the defense made the exact same errors. At one point, they referred to Betsy Blair and Sarah Carborough as Betsy Carborough.
Mm-hmm.
So, in my opinion, if you're going to make an accusation against a conservation officer for not being able to write a report correctly, your report that you're doing that in should be written correctly.
I would have to agree. Hey, Andrew. Oh, did he pop out?
Andrew. Oh,
where'd he go?
We lost him. Where'd he go?
He was like,
he got scared. He might have got scared of the dog.
Yeah. He'll be back.
I'm like, if you're gonna make those allegations against someone, make sure your house is in order.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes.
Yeah. Yeah, and whatever happened to Andrew there, he was there. He'll pop back on in a second. That's Sharon. That's our Andrew. Andrew from Andrew and Blaine on there. Anyway, so it's great. I know, like I said, there's a lot of information. You guys have a lot of questions as well. And I know it's really hard to try to cover all of us talking, plus see all these questions that are going on. And hopefully a lot of them some of them get talked about as we're talking right now. Because like I said, I mean, this is just fresh to everybody. Yeah. Holly Woodruff.
Can I hog this chat? Can I hog this chat for one more second and say that, in addition to them saying Sarah, or to them saying Betsy Carborough, they also at one point talk about the shoe and phone being found under Abby's back.
Mm-hmm.
And then they also refer to it as being found under Abby's leg. So again, if you're going to throw stones, don't live in a glass house.
Well, they also said that Logan's son was dating Libby at one point in the document. They got mixed up.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, so
that's horrible.
So when you're going to make allegations against someone, just keep your house in order.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm done.
Do you think talking about that shoe and the phone and the shoe? Do you think that when the girls might have been told to disrobe and Libby snuck that phone in her shoe so it wouldn't be found?
Oh, the shoe and behind her back, her left side of her back there, and then the phone was underneath.
Possible, very smart kid.
Yeah,
it was underneath Abby.
But
it was underneath
Abby.
Abby,
Andrew.
right? But I'm
Yeah.
saying he was redressing Abby. Ding ding.
Are you
If
in
he,
your
You're running from my dog. Are you running away from my dog?
let's see, he was having issues with not hearing.
Oh, he's
Can you
muted
hear me
now.
now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yes.
I can hear you now.
good.
Hey,
If
how
he-
are you
okay.
guys?
Good.
Hey.
How are you, Andrew?
How are you, Hottie?
Good. So we are actually back in Indiana. Phoenix's grandpa passed away, so we made the trek
Aw,
up
I'm
here
So sorry.
a few days.
Oh, okay. You're laggy, buddy, a little bit. Your connection signal. But I heard something. I think Phoenix's grandpa passed away. Is that what I heard? I think that's what I heard. Yeah, look at that. He's froze. Yeah.
Hey, Andrew,
Anyway,
if you turn your camera off, you might have a better connection.
yeah. We'll see. Try that, Andrew. Is it better? No, nothing can ever work perfectly, does it? No. He'll get it. He'll get it. But anyways, I want to say then to Phoenix, I'm so sorry about your grandpa, Phoenix. Hugs and you know that it's a crime and shame. Loves you both and wishes, of course, you always all the best. But sorry to hear about you. I think that's what he said, Phoenix, that it was her grandpa, right? I think I heard that. Andrew, yeah, I know the last name Holly Woodruff. I think have you been in here before as well? Actually, it was a name that meaning Facebook stalker or whatever, and telling a stalker. But anyways, the name Woodruff is a name that I've seen many times throughout, the Delphi or well that whole area and stuff like that. But I'm pretty sure you've been in here before. I want to think. Yeah. Did you know Blaine Hall? I think so. Anyways, okay, so maybe he is crying. No, don't think he's crying. Don't think he's crying. He's just having a bad connection issue.
Right.
So-
And Lala, that's a very good question because if you read and I don't know the answer to this question, but
Right.
if you go by the information that we've heard prior, one of the shoes of Libby's, meaning the black Nikes, one was found on the private drive. We've seen photo evidence of a Nike in the water. So then
in the water.
how is a third shoe
Third
of
shoe.
Libby's found under Abby's body?
Right.
I'm confused by that, and I would
Yeah.
like that clarified.
Correct. I
Right.
noticed that as well, and I thought that to myself too, Adam, when I saw that. I was like, now, don't get me wrong. I mean, I've seen what looks like a shoe in the crime scene photos,
Right, and it's clearly a Nike.
Mhm.
And in that one in the water, right, clearly a Nike. So just things like that. But
Right.
again,
And we know it's not Abby's because it also states in this
It's
document
Converse.
that Abby's Converse was placed on her right foot and her left foot. So it's explained that Abby's shoes were on her. So where's this extra shoe?
Well, okay. What if the shoe that we saw on the private drive was down at the private drive, but down in the water? And maybe that's what we're seeing. Maybe that's the same shoe.
No, the what? What the? There was
Is the shoe that they're talking about on the private drive also the shoe that was in the water? Like that shoe was just down the drive and close to the embankment, and it was wet and soggy there. I don't remember what the picture looked like.
that'd be
Remember,
way a distance, like
Yeah.
two totally different places.
and if you remember, Deb, it was in the water, like with
Like in it,
with those closed pictures.
Yeah. Hey Andrew, can you hear us now?
Okay. What if one of those pictures we saw though was bogus?
Maybe. Maybe.
Yeah.
Like the one in the water. The one in the water is legit. Like I believe that the photos are legit. Absolutely. But I don't know that one was one shown on the private drive, Adam?
No, it was never shown.
Yeah, that's one was never shown.
No, it
The
was
one
only
in-
said.
Yeah.
Because remember Abby or Kelsey said they looked at they were down below when she was on the bridge, and they were down below, and they said they found a shoe, and she asked what kind it was,
Yeah.
and then she knew it was Libby's. But like one girl said, also if you remember the document that we read back in June, I think it was said in those documents that the phone was found under Libby's body, whereas in today's filings, it said it was found under Abby's body. Again,
Right.
another inconsistency.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Let me just see. Andrew, can you hear us? Or is he still are you still having issues, Andrew? Can you hear us, Andrew? Can't hear you. Yeah, I hate it when people have to struggle. Sometimes like Andrew's been on here before. Another time he did struggle. But 1 minute people are clear and crisp, then 1 minute, whatever. Anyways, what Alexa, were you gonna say something there?
No.
Oh, okay. I heard your thing vibrating or whatever. So go ahead, Deb. Was there something else that you were talking about there that you wanted to add on to what you were saying?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. So I just, you know what? Then I just quickly want to go over this picture, and maybe I'll perhaps put the other thing in a video. I don't know. It depends how much time we have here. So just to bring this out a little bit bigger, okay, guys. So my husband, thank you, husband. I asked my husband if he could read pages 28 through 30 and use Canva just because I didn't have the time to do it. But I really wanted to give people an idea of exactly what was said in those documents or, about the crime scene. Okay. So basically that they're saying that Libby's arm and that was up to the left, and that's what that whole storyboard I have ready for tonight or whatever. But if I don't get through it tonight, then it's okay. Then I'll just show you this picture here. So basically, rune 1 is the F, and that's the Anzas or however you pronounce it, rune. 2 is the Hegel rune, which is the asterisk star that was laid on top of Abby, and that's what they're saying is the shoe, and the phone is underneath her left side. I now just what do I want to say? Just from what I read so far, so Libby is obviously here, and her one hand is touching the tree. The right arm is straight down. I believe if at this moment, okay, just from a rough guess, I believe that Libby has 2 runes. Like, I believe that she has a sign that makes 2 runes, and that would be the TH and the I, because the V, if anyone goes and looks at the runes for the Odin and stuff like that. So basically they're saying that they're from the, that mid area, the genitalia area, whatever we call it, is a V shape going up from her legs to the side of her face. Okay. And so, which is creating the V shape, like they talk about in that. We also know that both of the girls, and I do know this because I can see 2 knives myself. But anyways, regardless of all that stuff, we can talk about it on a different day, show you more pictures again. I gotta have to go hunt down some of my pictures I did. But anyways, we both know that they had both slits, right, on their neck there area. And then also with Libby, she had this other one, which could possibly be the eye, if you go look at the symbols. And so meaning they combined runes as well, right, to make a message. But anyways, so at this moment, I'm thinking that perhaps that the V is the one that you'll look at. That's the TH one, Thor. Okay. And Thor will make sense if you actually go look at it. But anyways, this other longer stick here goes well past the head on her left shoulder and well past her feet on this. Now, in there also, they talk about how they kind of mix things up there as well. The way that they put that about that Abby's feet were closer than this, but they weren't parallel and blah, blah, blah. And their heads were couple feet apart. It actually kind of didn't make sense there how they worded that. So going by kind of what I know in the pictures, like the what we call the not crime scene photos, but from the Devil's Hop Yard ones, in a sense, like meaning you guys, when I'm talking about those photos, I'm talking about those ones, not actual photos. Anyways, bullet casing was said to be in the middle between the girls, and that they were a couple feet away, but they weren't parallel to each other, that only Libby was touching the tree, and that there was an F, like we said, on a tree that was further, that they believe that Libby was dragged to that spot, and that on Abby, that there was no, like that, as if she was, they're saying that she was undressed and redressed, and that she literally had something like barely any blood on her clothes, as if she was kept clean in a sense, as if they did whatever and then put these clothes back on her, or like, because they do use the word as in multiple people. Who knows? All I know for me is that it was just trying to give you guys a visual of what this would like. There was horns, okay? They talk about the horns, and they would be bull horns because that would associate with Odin. But again, just keep it in your mind that this could have been a staging misdirection to make it look like it had something to do with Odin, but actually didn't. So just bear that in mind as you're reading the whole documents, because like Adam and everybody else knows that we're trying to portray an image to you. You guys know how you watch something and then you walk away going, yep, I totally believe in UFOs, after I watch this documentary. Well, it's the same thing. You read something and you start going, yeah, like I knew it, this and that. But please don't be gullible enough to think that this is like, not that these ruins or that this wasn't a thing, but just don't be so gullible to believe that we've heard the word misdirection. So this could be an absolute misdirection of what they wanted you to think, or the person. Me and CD don't believe solo, so I'm going to say that they want you to think, but really it was veering off a different way, and it was a mix. A mix. I don't think Richard Allen myself is capable of personally doing all this myself. I just don't. I don't see it. We'll see how it all plays out. That's the end of the thing, right? Until then, again, we got more than we had yesterday and a lot to go through. And I have a ton of stuff to go through myself. But what I will take away from the documents, at least for now, is what they're saying about the crime scene photos versus what was there seems pretty accurate to what we've heard for rumors near the very beginning and stuff like that. Because, like, again, that stuff usually comes to fruition more that, but there's so much muck in the middle of all of it all that, so it's kind of, for me, nice knowing that, okay, so we have this now. We know that this was there. This is how they were placed. This is how the arm was. They have the photos to show. So that part I believe. Now, the rest of it, no, it's, them trying to think that their client's innocent. Do I believe Richard Allen's innocent? Not yet. Sure don't. Definitely not. Until something says otherwise to me. But anyways, this is just a depiction for you guys to understand from 28 to kind of 30, just exactly kind of the setup of what they were saying, that Libby's hands had blood on both sides, that from head to toe, she had blood on her, that Abby was clean, she had the knife wound, that possibly that's 2 runes there, the Hagel rune, the Anzus rune, and that the F had some below it. So the F was made out of Libby's blood, is what they're saying. And of course that there was blood at the bottom. So that stuff I believe to be true. And so that's what I wanted to say with that, to just give you guys a good go. So I want to thank my husband very much for taking the time to help me. I had to tweak it a bit there, but he did such a great job for me in doing that, to give you guys
Thanks,
a bit.
Steve.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Everyone knows.
Yeah.
Yeah. And hi, Jeff. Go ahead.
There's some questions going on in the chat that I kind of wanted to address about the clothing. And I think maybe somebody asked, why would he put Libby's shirt on Abby? Well, first of all, I believe that Abby's clothes were in the water. And so I believe that was her clothes that were in the water, because Abby's shirt was obviously on, Libby's shirt was obviously on Abby. So if he wanted to let her be found with a little bit of dignity because she was kind of just collateral damage, then he would have put whatever shirt was available, which happened to be Libby's shirt, on her.
Well, but that's not true. That's not true. Libby had on her tie-dye shirt, the pink shirt that, just like David Erskine had said, the pink shirt that Libby had on, or sorry, the pink shirt that Abby had on is the same one on the bridge, that pink shirt that she was wearing when they.
Why does this document say that she had on Abby or Libby's shirt?
Right, because they're mixing up their information, because
that's possible.
Yeah, and that's what it is. Because Deb, I caught that same thing that you did, and I was that's why I went back and I was like, no, Abby's already wearing that pink shirt, and then that's only we believe that she was undressed and then dressed with Libby's pants, because Libby's shirt.
No, not Libby's pants. It said she had jeans on, her own jeans.
No, it said Libby's.
No, it said Libby's jeans.
Yeah.
No, Libby didn't have jeans on. Libby had sweatpants.
That's sweatpants, but in there it says jeans. And the document says jeans.
So that's what I'm
saying. Let me explain. The way they worded it was incorrect. They were saying she had Libby's sweatshirt on and jeans. But the way they worded it made it sound like she was saying Libby's sweatshirt and Libby's jeans. That's not what they were saying. They were saying you had Libby's sweatshirt on and jeans. Okay, so she had her own jeans on. The other thing is, if, and this is a hypothetical, if those pictures of the clothes in the creek are fake, they could be fake, then that's how Libby's shirt could be on Abby. So that's two possibilities.
And also, if that's the case, and a lot of people are saying, why would he put her clothes? Don't forget that when you have how can I say this, on a live weight is, oh my God, look at the cuteness. Oh, made my day. Oh,
hello, baby.
Right. So Deb,
yeah.
So Deb,
so when you have on a live weight, it's heavy, especially when it has passed on. So if anybody has ever dressed somebody that has passed on, and I have, it's so hard to put clothes on. Yeah. So usually you need bigger clothes.
Can I clarify really quickly?
If they were wet too. Go ahead.
Hey,
yes, we don't know that too.
It was said that Abby was wearing Libby's pants and her sweatshirt or jacket, whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
The words are right here.
So
in fact, Abby was dressed in Libby's sweatshirt and jeans. So we could take that two different ways. We could take that as that they, in their wording, they said Abby was dressed in Libby's sweatshirt and then that she had jeans on.
Or in her jeans, Libby's jeans.
But Libby didn't have jeans. Libby had sweatpants.
Correct.
Yeah.
But that just goes to the defense mixing up, I think, some of this information, because anyone's going to take that. Yeah, because Deb, I think it's just one of those things that they probably meant to say Abby's jeans, but again, like other things that have been said wrongly, it's coming off as like it's one thing, dressed in sweatshirt, Libby's sweatshirt and jeans.
Right.
Anyone's going to mostly take that as, okay, so she was in Libby's sweatshirt and jeans.
But that she had two bras on.
And two
she
bras.
Had the black bra and she had the sports bra, as they called it, a sports bra.
Well, let me tell you something about that. Having had a daughter that was a teenager back when she was in high school, and I don't know if it's the same thing now. The girls would wear two bras. They would wear like a traditional bra and then a sports bra over it. That's a thing. So that's very possible that she was just wearing that. Mm-hmm. But then again, maybe if he redressed him, he might have put that on her as well.
Right.
I don't know.
But I heard someone mention something about Libby's underwear. Nowhere in these documents does it say anything about Abby having Libby's underwear on. In fact, there's no mention of underwear. But we know that underwear and a sock was taken from the crime scene.
Right.
So when they talk about Abby being redressed, they only mention the jeans being put out on her. They don't say anything about underwear.
Okay. Just quickly, you guys, only because CD hasn't talked in a bit, and
Right.
Andrew is here. Where's Andrew? Andrew, are you busy?
CD's gone.
Where did
Can you
CD
finally
go?
hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Perfect.
Yeah.
Hey, it's fixed. Okay. How are you guys?
They're great.
Good, good. Oh, there's
So
CD.
we are. What I was saying is, we are in Indiana. Phoenix's grandpa passed away, so we made the trek up here last week, and then we will be going back home this week.
Okay. Well, again, that's what I thought I heard. So again, if she's in chat or if she's not, or she's right there probably with you. So
She's actually right here.
just yeah, Phoenix, just of course, sorry for your loss, Phoenix, with your grandpa. Yeah, and
She said
it's
thank you and hello.
yeah. So sorry for the. And it's when you lose someone, it's a loss. It's simply that it's a loss. They were
Right.
there for a long time of your life, so I get it, and we just want to say we love you and thank you, Andrew, and Phoenix, for kind of like coming on here and knowing that she's right there. You got your little bundle of joy there. Yeah.
Listen, so he actually, as soon as we got here, it was like 4 days after being here, he caught RSV. First one out of all four to get it. So yeah, it's been the third one to get RSV.
Yeah.
No, he.
Oh, okay. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I actually seen where one of my someone I've known since I was a kid commented on. So she's still in the chat. Hi, Holly.
Holly, yeah. Hollywood
yeah.
had earlier.
Yeah, I've known her since I was in middle school, probably. But to this patch bullshit. Westville Prison, they are a bunch of gangster ass guards. They don't give a fuck. They do what they want. So if one of them was to have some sort of patch on, it's not gonna be unlikely. Because they do what they want. It's plain and simple.
So you were saying that it's likely that they would have the patch on because they just do what they want.
So like if they're in the military, they're gonna have that patch. If they ride with the motorcycle club, they're gonna have that patch. Like their vests have free roam to add what they want. It's how they define them.
Oh no, he froze.
Oh, froze face, Andrew. Poor
Come
guy.
on back, Andrew.
Yeah.
He was doing so well.
That's interesting. That's good info. I hope he comes back because I'd like to hear more.
Exactly. That's why I wanted him to come on.
Yeah.
Look
Wait,
at
Andrew.
you, Adam.
Andrew, try leaving your camera off and talking through your voice on, but you're muted though right now. But you probably know that. Hi, GP. Hi, Ginger. And hey, everyone. Let me look at that survey that I asked.
Back.
So 58%.
There he is.
Is he back?
Yeah.
Okay,
Go
welcome
ahead,
back.
Andrew.
Here, let me just turn off my cam and maybe that helps too. Can you, Andrew? You're muted. Andrew, you're muted. There we go. Andrew, let's just all turn off our cams.
Andrew, stay on. Don't turn yours off.
He has this thing back on mute again. Andrew, try to see if you can unmute yourself and talk.
He looks great, by the way.
Yeah. I've seen a few pictures with him with those red specs on. CD, you there, bud? Oh, there he is.
There we go. There he is.
Hold on.
I'm here just eating a pretzel. Be right back.
Oh, okay. You eat your pretzel. Andrew, I'm not sure what's going on. Andrew, Mike. Just Mike. Okay, he doesn't. No, your mic. No, your mic.
Hey, Andrew,
Your mic.
Your mic.
Not
Here, I'll say
camera.
it.
Mic. Microphone.
hit unmute.
Let's see if he a New York pretzel.
I tried to unmute him, but it said you can't unmute this person because they chose to mute themselves.
Yeah. No, I'm not. Yeah. Okay. I sent him a message on Messenger to see if he sees
He's
it.
still frozen though. Look at his face. He hasn't moved. He's still frozen.
Yeah.
It was moving. He was moving.
It was better.
Looks like it's frozen
Okay.
now.
Well, hopefully he'll come back to us. So anyway, CD, are you done your pretzel? Nope.
Almost. You don't want me to choke, right?
No.
Yes.
Take your time.
Would it be the first time?
Alexa, Adam,
Very funny, Adam.
Aspen.
all right. So Alexa or Deborah, Aspen, anybody want to add to anything?
Yeah, I was thinking about how they said, like, there was a discrepancy between the muddy and bloody witness said the person she saw had a tan coat on. And so I was thinking about that. In the picture we saw on the bridge of Richard Allen, or bridge guy, we saw him having this dark jacket, and underneath hanging out, some people think it's a bag of some sort. I've always thought it was a tan sweatshirt or a tan jacket. So I'm hearing an echo for some reason. So anyway, what if he just simply put the jacket on the inside and
Alexa,
the beige jacket on the outside?
Bring your mic off. It's coming through you. Yeah. Okay, go ahead, Deb.
What if he simply had a tan jacket underneath his blue one, and after the unalivings, he switched and put the blue under and the tan on top, and that's why the muddy, bloody witness said the person was wearing a tan jacket.
Sorry, just answering Andrew back here. He says, no, I can't hear anyone. I know I'm muted.
So anyway, that was a thought that I'd had in reading through everything.
So I've never personally believed, I've always believed that that's, for me personally, that's whatever you want to call it, a hunting kit, whatever.
Right.
You know, like I see a satchel-y thing there.
Right, but I'm saying, if hypothetically, if it was a tan sweatshirt, which many people have thought, and at the beginning, that's how they described him. So if it was a tan sweatshirt or jacket underneath, it could have been very easy for him to just flip it over.
Yeah. Gotcha. Oldest trick in the book, just change your shirt, Melissa says. Hey, Melissa. He definitely was wearing layers. I still feel like there's a whole aspect of BG and what he had on. And here, let's see if Andrew can make it. He's trying so hard, guys. He's trying. Andrew, can you hear us? Oh, I don't think he can hear us.
You're still muted, Andrew.
Yeah, he knows he's muted, he said.
Okay.
But he said, I heard you for, poor guy, just isn't a bad connection.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, we're at a hotel and the signal is trash.
I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
All right. But I can now finally hear you. I don't know if you can see me.
Yes,
I can't.
can see you. Everything's fine at this moment.
It says my camera's off, so I don't know. So.
Yeah, Andrew, you should put pants on. I'm kidding.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, you might turn your camera off and talk, or you can try to stay like that. But usually the camera being off kind of helps with lag when there's a lot of people.
You weren't able to hear me again, so I don't know. We'll just leave it how it is.
Yeah. Okay. We'll leave it how it is. So Deb wanted to finish. Well, so what you were saying there, of course, about, in Westville, guards and doing what they want and blah blah. What, Deb?
Really, it's just what they put on their vest is to define their character as a guard, I guess.
Do you think he's being mistreated in there, like they're trying to claim?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, because it's too high profile.
They're going to treat him just like they would treat any other inmate. He's playing it out to be more than it is. And like Phoenix and I were talking the other day, where they've requested for cameras to be in all further court proceedings. That's
Right.
just to blow it, like the Casey Anthony trial.
Right.
That they're just make it big, so there's a mistrial. Like there's a scheme behind all of it.
Of course, yeah. Definitely. I mean, you wouldn't expect anything less out of the, uh, to be honest, out of the defense for trying to take every crumb that they could possibly find. You know?
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, I know that you got did Phoenix, did you guys at least get the files to read them?
Have you read them?
What, the court documents that they released?
You're
Yeah.
talking about the court documents that have been. Yes,
Yeah.
I believe
skimmed them.
she said she skinned them.
Okay, so
So-
I'd asked you earlier. So you, just to ask you again, because I don't believe Blaine knew much about anything to like Odin. He didn't know about that. You know, he knew what he knew, which was a lot of good information. But you must have heard of Odin. Do you even know about what Odin is about? Like, I mean, we can Google it, sure, and all that, but it's always cool. Ooh. Hey. Oh, yeah. I feel like someone's taking quick picture shots. Can't hear you. Can't hear you. Yeah. You guys are just going to have to lip read on this one. Sorry. Yeah, but it was working. That's why I said I didn't want to touch it on there. Oh, and then he goes, okay, CD, are you done your pretzel, bud? Didn't choke, did you? You still alive?
No, I didn't. I was giving Andrew the floor, but it wasn't working.
Oh, okay. So sound about right too. I mean, like I said, it's kind of like having two people, one with knowledge of, in a sense, inside the prison. That's what, Blaine was great for letting us know about the different like rooms and different thing that we were clueless to. But from your perspective, yeah. I mean, I don't know nothing. Like I haven't read enough about Odin. I know it's been brought up,
Yeah.
But I don't know a lot about it yet. Yet is the magic word there.
Well, how often have we heard any kind of cases where there was a, Odinistic sacrifice? And not too often. So
Sorry.
I mean, is it far fetched? It's very fetched. But they're just throwing as much shit on the wall as they can, seeing what's going to stick to help this cause.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. And Adam, just so you know, I saw that earlier, like this morning, basically. No, that's fine. That's fine.
For anyone that doesn't know, I just sent her the link to the new JLR video that says, quote, Richard Allen, new record, Frank's hearing, Delphi, Indiana.
Yeah, he was doing that live, like earlier.
Who's doing that?
Just JLR. JLR.
He loves saying his initials, though. Sonny, give it a break. Come on, stop plugging that man. You, JLR.
We get 10%.
Give somebody a platform, and they will run it until the friggin' wheels fall off, and that's what that man is doing.
Oh, I know. Like I said, you'd have to.
Remember Idaho? Friend or foe? When he had a guy pull up to him, and the guy took him to like a dead end, and he waited till the guy got to the dead end to ask him if you're a friend or foe.
Right.
Yeah.
Great job.
Hey,
but again,
better than when Greg Hughes was like, no, I came in over here. I'm not trespassing.
Right.
I haven't heard that name in a while, and it's been great not hearing that name either.
Wait, CD, you saw that, right?
But no, I didn't see it. I don't know what you're talking about.
The video of Greg Hughes in Idaho.
But wait, when was he in Idaho?
Oh,
Oh, you got to send me this. Gray Hughes went to Idaho to like look
And
around.
and got confronted trespassing.
Oh boy, yeah, you don't want to trespass out there, man. You'll be met with a friggin' shotgun in your face.
Hey, I would probably react the same way. I'm not throwing shade at.
Well,
Gray.
you're gonna put your arms up, of course you are. I mean, that's just I'm
But-
a threat. I mean, you're on somebody's property. It's that kind of is what it is. You don't want your hands in your pockets at that point.
This is what
When
happens.
was this? Was this recently?
Oh,
Was this recently?
this
Today?
month.
Like this week? This month? Oh
Or
man.
something. I don't know. I just
See?
heard about it today. Yeah, like I only heard that he was going down there, but I legit. I mean, Gray Hughes. I don't care what he does. I mean, but if there's a funny video to watch where he was getting,
Oh, well, listen,
that was funny.
there's nothing like some comic relief. Nobody got hurt. It's something funny.
Yeah.
You got to watch it.
You need a good laugh.
I'm just quickly looking, but it's not as crazy as typical sacrifice theory. Sorry, Andrew.
How attached is it to the Viking stuff? Is it
it is.
one and the same, or is there distance between the two? You know?
Well, what do you mean? Sorry.
It's the same. It's the same as
It's the same.
the Vikings.
It is exactly the same, huh?
It is.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's all part of it. And the thing is, because let me just show this that I had up earlier, and I showed you guys it in a video to say that we were doing a Delphi. So I'll just show you this. Okay, so these are the runes of Odin in this right here. Now, of course, those can be conjoined because I've looked at other ones and stuff like that. So this is just kind of like a brief kind of like synopsis of each one of the runes. Now, if you look at I just want to talk about this one quickly. So
Michael Myers.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's the episode 6 of Michael Myers, the thorn. It's the tattoo he had on his wrist.
Well, I was gonna say, like I said, in a little bit of reading, Thor has a lot to do with it. So I thought perhaps, okay, just with this one, you guys, I thought perhaps that the V. So they're saying that there's sticks on Libby that form the V, going from her, vagina, okay, up to beside her head, and then they have the one that crosses over her neck from her one shoulder side to her other shoulder side. Okay. So that's why I was thinking that perhaps that it's kind of like a combined rune in a sense, meaning that it's this one and this one, because they have a very long one that goes over the shoulder. Over the left-hand shoulder that goes past her shoulder and below her feet and stuff. So it could be possibly that it's a combined rune to mean a certain thing together. Kind of like how they're saying that Hegel and that the Asna is like Hail Odin. And that's exactly, so again, whether it's one of those things, that's just my thoughts on it right now, that it's a combined rune on Libby of this one and this one, because there's nothing else that looks like that. So my husband was the one that actually said, oh, I think it's maybe this one and this one. Because I said, well, I think it's this one. And he goes, well, maybe the other one on her, the longer one, is the eye. Breach of loyalty. Who knows? Again, we can all do our homework here, and I'm sure you guys all will. Anyone, instead of say looking at just creators, go Google it yourself, you guys. All this Odin stuff, and see, from what they've said in the 136. The 28 page to the 30 page, and they talk about how the leaves were placed and stuff like that, or the branches and sticks. Well, again, just go yourself and look at what Odin is about and put it to what they're saying about the crime scene. Still doesn't mean that it wasn't a misdirection, but it gives you more knowledge for sure. Anyways, but so as for Thor was the main thing. I was just reading that not too long before the live, but I didn't get to read it all. So this is going to be video after video after video for me of information, because Again, just depends on how someone wants to look at it. You're going to go to one creator, they're going to be going, Brad Holder told you, yeah, woo. This channel won't be, not that I know of. It's just going to be, going with the facts that are of the facts within the thing, and knowing that they've obviously made some errors in their typing and their wording and stuff like. Is that a bird or is that your dog?
It's my dog. Give me 1 second.
Oh, it's okay. It's just that it sounded like it was doing like tweets, almost like.
Right.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Adam.
I was just gonna say really quickly. Well, wait. You called me out on it, and then I was like, wait, what was I gonna say?
Sorry.
I lost it. Sorry.
You lost your thought?
I completely lost my
Let
thought.
me
I
grab
apologize.
it for you.
Yeah.
Deb, did you have anything?
Typically, we have the same thought, so.
I know, just not right now. my thoughts right now are pretty spastic. I'm so eager to dive into this. Because like I said, so for me, regardless, this is a boatload of new information because it's kind of like confirming stuff that we heard and stuff like that. I like, we're not going to sit here and go, oh yeah, Brad Holder did it or this or whatever.
Oh, there you go. Thank you, Sonny.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I was going to say, if you remove all of this stuff that was alleged by the defense in these documents with Brad Holder, and you just go off the basic understanding of this case, and if you're thinking that the defense is alleging Brad Holder is BG, there is a picture on Brad Holder's Facebook, which Sonny alluded to earlier, as saying Brad Holder would be ridiculous to keep all of this Odinism stuff on his Facebook if he was responsible for these killings. But there's an identifiable picture posted, I think, the day before or a few days before the killing. Brad Holder has a beard down to his collarbone almost. No one has ever alleged that BG had a beard that long. And then Brad Holder also has a picture on his Facebook on the 15th, I believe it is, of February of 2017, where he also has that beard. So he looked nothing like anyone's ever alleged the BG to look like in anything I've ever seen. And I think, also not only that, but Brad Holder was at work in Buffalo, Indiana that day. The evidence that the defense showed to say that was a flimsy alibi, in my opinion, was laughable, because they basically stated that no one can prove that someone didn't clock in, meaning colluded with Brad Holder to commit this crime, and no one could provide evidence that no one clocked out for Brad Holder, which would mean collusion. But it did state that the HR person from the company Brad Holder worked for stated that no one could access or change those documents other than themselves. So, we hear Brad Holder went to the gym, which Sonny has on the screen right now.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, the whole Brad Holder saying he didn't leave work and that he didn't leave work until was it 1:45 p.m. that day. Then the defense even alleged, they went as far to allege that, maybe Brad Holder wasn't there. Maybe he's a Charles Manson. And I didn't have Sharon Tate's name ending up on a Delphi document in my 2023 bingo card. But here today I got up and there it was. The Richard Allen defense team alleged that maybe Brad Holder is like Charles Manson, and he didn't partake in the killings, but he directed the killings as a Charles Manson type.
Yeah.
And to me, it is another example of them throwing a substance against the wall to see what sticks. And
Yeah.
in my book, it's not sticking.
Now, Ivy said this to me a second ago, so I'm going to show it to you guys because this is exactly what I'm talking about. And Ivy just said this to me, and this is from BH's 2016 Facebook. So on Libby, basically is like a V, but it's not this part. It's a V with the, like I said, the stick going across and one going over the left shoulder. Now, does that represent this exactly? No. But again, it could be like it obviously looks like it's depicted to be a picture of one of the runes. Now, now let's go back to that actually, because there is a Y one. There is this one here. Now, let me go back to that picture. No, that's a little bit different, isn't it? Just kind of wanted to look at that for a sec, because that's not it. This is the only one that really looks like a Y. So, I mean, and again, to me, that does look like a rune symbol that he did obviously maybe create. That's what, I mean, obviously he took a picture of it and he lined the sticks up to be a certain way. But that's less this part right here. That this is pretty much kind of the gist of exactly what we're talking about, how it was laid on Libby. But that's not me saying that Brad Holder had anything to do with Abby or Libby. But a very interesting picture nonetheless, because obviously he is Odin. So he knows his symbols, from it. So for me, time's going to tell, time's going to tell how the story of it. And right now, again, I'm just eager to kind of go through the whole documents and then decipher out of it what I will. But stick to really the facts that make the most sense of the information that was given to us of the crime scene. I don't know. I don't know what to say. Besides, I still don't believe. I don't believe that Richard Allen has the brain power to do all of this staging by himself. And hey, Deb. Hey, Deb.
Yeah.
I didn't
Can
know
you hear
that.
me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Oh,
Yes.
I lost.
did you lose us? Okay.
I lost sound, so that's why I went out to come back in. I was talking away and nobody. I'm like, oh, just talking on top.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't even on the same. I wasn't on the same thing. I was on a different screen.
Well,
I was
since
on.
you couldn't hear me, I didn't have any
Yeah.
sound.
Yeah.
And Deb, it was probably like 5 minutes before you were like, well, this is normal.
Yeah. Yeah. What if Ari was trying? You know what? You're right. Again, you know what? I think.
Oh no, that's never good.
No, that
What?
isn't the 666 stuff.
No, well, and I literally just said
Sharon.
I didn't see Sharon Tate being mentioned I didn't have that on my bingo card today.
Yeah.
Any relation to Andrew Tate? Yeah. I don't know enough about Odin. Like I said, I'm going to go back and deep dive into Odin because, again, I was looking at the different things, like if that was a bunny there, the different things to do with whatever. I can't even think of who it was now because it's been a while since I've been looking at my Delphi stuff. Anyways, but to do with runes, do with cryptic note. Hey, there is a backwards R on that whole thing. Let's go back to that actually. So I'm going, is the cryptic note going to revive itself, you guys? Where is it? Oh, right here. Is that backwards R? Now, it's funny how it's crappy blurry. It says, I can't even read what it says. Rigidity, I don't know. Anyways, so again, I'm just going to go do my thing that I do personally, and Adam will do his thing. We'll come back to you guys with some information,
Right.
But I advise people to definitely go check out Odin and then compare it to what you're seeing. But just keep in mind that it doesn't mean it wasn't a misdirection and that somebody was trying to point it that way when really it was to point a different direction, because I'm sorry. I got the Jason Paladinos and all that stuff in my head and Nick Edward and Garrett Kurt stuff still going on. And I'm just waiting to see kind of what plays out. So this is just another step forward to hopefully justice for Abby and Libby at the end of the day.
Right.
You know, stuff like that. So
Can I say really quickly again
yeah,
before before we close up or whatever? But I think it's important to mention, like, I had a lot of trouble. Oh wait, no, I had a lot of trouble getting through the first section of the 136-page document that was released today, because it was the part I was the most interested in, because it was the crime scene details. But it was also the part that, as I was reading it, I had to repeatedly stop and think to myself, these were children. This was a 13 and a 14-year-old girl.
Yeah.
And not only was it a 13 and 14-year-old girl, but now the people that loved those girls are being accused of things in these documents that I don't feel are fair or necessary. Nor do I think that the details that were released in these documents were necessary, because they could have been confidential. They could have been requested to be kept confidential, and they weren't. In fact, like I said earlier, the defense went as far as to request they be publicly released with the motion for the Franks hearing. They wanted these documents out there. In my opinion, that's disgusting. And I get they're doing their job. But, Ivy Rose, what I'm saying when accused of things, the defense alleges that the statements they were told were that it's Anna's fault the girls were killed. Then they were told it's Becky Patty's fault that law enforcement even became aware of, or the law enforcement officer that they're referring to is even aware of Odinism in this case. To me, that's gratuitous and unnecessary. And I'll get off my high horse, but I had to stop several times when I was reading that segment of these documents, because it's something I've wondered about for so long, but then to read the details, and even there was nothing really that surprising in the details.
Correct.
But to read them,
hard. It's hard.
And then to put myself in Becky Patty's shoes or anyone else's shoes that loved those girls, just was unimaginable.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry. I'll get off. I'm done now.
No, but I do want to add to that quickly of saying same thing too. Is that, like I said, a lot of people, a lot of family, friends that have been so impacted by this. We're strangers and we're having a lot of these emotions ourselves. And like I said, I personally have to block out the hurt and the pain when I'm looking at stuff or reading that, for instance, because as a mother, as thinking about Becky, as thinking about Anna, Kelsey, all the family members of other side, plus the uncles and aunts and all those people that literally had for the ones that literally had to witness this crime scene in person, that would scar me for life. I'd probably have bad dream after bad dream after bad dream. So it's bad enough reading it, but anyways. So yeah, my heart goes out to anyone that's involved that has hurt and pain from this case. But I also know that us reading it and seeing it like we did today, it wasn't shocking to me because this information mostly has been out there, but in rumors. But it's kind of almost like, putting more of a course picture to it. Like as I'm reading it, I'm visually picturing this. And that's the hard part anyways. It's hard. It's hard. And so I get it, Adam, because there's times that I get overwhelmed with tears as well, because just the hurt and the pain that of people that saw the crime scene, of what Becky and Mike and Anna and that have had to go through. Anna losing her only daughter, to this, to this horrific crime. Whoever, one person or multi, whoever did it, doesn't matter. Bottom line is, it's just, if it happened to your child and you have children, you would know exactly what I mean. I couldn't bear the thought of knowing that if this happened to my son, oh my God, the damage that would do to my head, knowing that visually, and maybe they've seen, like I said, pictures and different things. Who knows what any of them have either saw, but just knowing that these girls were taken, their lives were taken.
Right.
It's just so sad. Right. It's one thing to die. Yeah. But
it's even important to actually note, a lot of the things that we're talking about that, the defense used as evidence to support the claims they publicly released, they did ask to be kept confidential. Yeah. So a lot of the things that we're discussing and talking about aren't things that we can even compare to for ourselves, because we aren't seeing the evidence they provided. We aren't seeing the side-by-side photos that they're talking about.
Yeah, like
we aren't seeing what the actual crime scene photos are, and I don't care to, but we aren't seeing what the actual crime scene photos are compared to the examples of Odinism that they're providing. So I can say that I've been told that the comparisons are very loose, and that the comparisons are actually 100% bullshit. But I can't confirm or deny that because I haven't seen the pictures.
Gotcha.
So, we're going off of information that, is being presented by one side of a case.
Right.
As they should be presenting, they're presenting their case and they're trying to get their client off. But without the full story, none of us can actually give a full assessment to what's happening here.
Right.
Let me see. Alexa. Hi, Alexa. Oh, there she is. Alexa.
Yeah, I just kept the microphone off, so you guys can hear it.
I know that it's hard when there's like a lot of us on and we have thoughts, and then trying to see the people that are in chat say. But anyways, Alexa, what else did you want to talk about or say? Because and sorry, Ivy, absolutely, about the part with Abby and that about it. It was like a slow death is what they're saying for her. Her absolutely, but yeah, I can't even go there. But anyways, Alexa.
But yeah, that part was unnecessary. Why even mention that? It's not important for the case. Anyways, one thing I wanted to mention and to keep, for people that are not familiar with this, and these are called ritual homicides. I don't know if I can say the word, but this is basically would be classified in ritual homicides. And usually ritual homicides are very, very rare. The real ones. A lot of them where there's Santeria, voodoo, paganism, Odinism, Palo Mayor, Satanism, vampirism, all of them. You will hear a lot of cases that claim to be, but when you really study criminology and you can really see that throughout history, there's only been really few true cases. Most of them are just the fake ones, the ones that they pretend to be, and they leave, for example, a lot of them would leave pagan symbols and witchcraft symbols and say, so then it has to be Satan's. And that's not really the case. They might identify somebody like Richard Ramirez, Richard Ramirez, and the real Satanists. They didn't believe that he was a real Satanist because he didn't follow. He unalive people for his own pleasure. And the thing is, when you do those homicides for rituals, it's not for own pleasure. You're doing it because the unaliving of that person symbolizes something for either the greater community or the greater belief. So that's one thing I wanted to say. So most of the ones, so it's very rare to find a true one. One, because they're very methodical. They're very specific. Usually they will pick
Right.
a date that is, it's symbolic. The knife, yes, they mentioned the knife being a ritual knife. But one thing in what I've seen of the true ritualistic homicides is that they drain the blood, or they carve the body, or they take organs. And in this case, none of them. None
Oh,
of them. See, so it's very strange how a professor, because I kind of read, I skimmed through, I really didn't read properly. But I read that the professor in Purdue, basically an Odinism, somebody who is an expert on Odinism, how can they attach and say themselves to this? Because we know that ritual homicides has to, in order for us to say that it's a ritual homicide, it has to have one of those things. And this doesn't have that. Because it didn't have, I mean, the only thing that might have is the ritual knife, but the blood wasn't drained. The date, well, we can say, okay, it was the 13th, maybe. There was no cannibalism, mutilation in the blood. That, usually it said that I think one of the girls had blood splatters. There's no way that in one of these rituals they will have blood splatters. They're very precise. It's almost like military. If you see a real one, if you guys want to read one case that it kind of touches it, he wasn't a Odin, but he was I think he was a Palo Mayombo, which is like a voodoo. It's a mixture of voodoo and Santeria. It's Cuban, Afro-Cuban. It's Adolfo de Jesus. What's his name? Constanzo. He was a drug dealer, but he also was into Santeria and all that. And he used to unalive his his victims. And talk about, I mean, what he would do to his victims. I mean, he would take, I don't want to be so graphic, but I mean, he would take parts of the body and, like he was like a surgeon, very precisely. Even the pathologist was actually very intrigued how somebody with very knowledge of, the human body was able to take out the parts so precisely. But anyways, if anybody's interested in reading that. So to me, honestly, this case, I mean, I truly believe that the lawyers, I think they decided to say, hey, what, basically what
Alexis, you're too close to your mic for a second or something.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now, you got too close or something to your mic and you were all
sorry.
static. No, it's okay. Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, I truly don't believe that none of this has to be. I don't believe that this, by 1 second, I don't change my mind. I think this was something that the defense had to write and had to say, hey, what's the most possible way and the most impossible. And that's another thing. They talk about runes. Runes have to be they have to be aligned in a certain way. And I mean, the way I remember hearing the description, or even hear the description, it doesn't seem that they were meticulous, put in an order or in a specific, or they were all cut the same. It almost seems like they found some twigs and they put it on top of the body, and then they claim, oh, this looks like a V, oh, this looks like a T. I don't think anything in this case says Odinism, paganism, Satanism,
Okay.
anything.
So let me just go down the line, because so CD and the Deb. So do you think that kind of like the whole Odin thing is more hogwashy? Then
CD's walking his dog, I think.
Oh,
so.
did he say that? Okay, thank you.
You want me to go?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I think it's very possible. When I saw the description of the logs or limbs that were on Libby, I thought, yeah, but that could have also been an arrow, like a one log down and then a V pointing to her private parts, like a arrow. You know what I'm saying? And maybe the log just fell over to the side. That's
Possibly.
a possibility, and making it look like something. But I also, this has come to my mind because somebody I was in a chat with last night talking, made a comment that really struck with me, and that was that RA had Richard Allen had told several coworkers, had mentioned interest in a threesome. He even followed 2 girls into the bathroom at work and joked about a threesome. And I just wonder if that's something that he had wanted to make happen, and that this was him fulfilling a fantasy with 2 young teenage girls.
Could be right. I mean, honestly, there's so many twists and turns to this case. Now, in asking this now, so is there going to be a rebuttal to this by the prosecutors and say, no, there wasn't this or that or this?
I don't think
doubt it.
I know.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think they can do that.
I'm not sure when that, like when, I'm not even sure when that.
I don't think the prosecution defends that. I think that this is presented to the judge, and the judge decides whether
it warrants a Frank's hearing. And I believe I believe that the judge has 30 days to make that decision. So no, I don't expect to see the prosecution laying out any motions in response to this, unless it's something clerical or something procedural. But if there's a hearing for it, of course the prosecution will have to present a rebuttal to the allegations that are being made in that hearing.
Hey, Fig.
And again, sorry if I cut you off, Deb.
That's okay. I was just saying, hey, Fig.
Yeah. Hey, Figgy. Yeah, there was a reason they didn't want to mention that Abby was bludgeoned. They couldn't make up how difficult it was to control 2 girls. They leave that out on purpose.
Absolutely.
Right. Now, I had something wise to say, but it's gone.
Oh, Sunny, I was so impressed by it too.
I know. Right? I know it's going to stay up there. I'm just going to keep it to myself for a bit.
As an intuitive Cancer, I knew what you would say, and I just was blown away by it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And I was too busy focused on Fig. His comment that it literally just went whoop, gone. Yeah, out of there.
Yeah.
He likes attention.
I mean, I'll be curious at the end of the day where everything goes. Like I said, everyone has their thoughts and stuff on it, whether it was one person, multiple people, this, that, the other. I'll be like anybody else, just sifting away through the stuff and, seeing what becomes of it, to be honest. Wait for that, hopefully that day in court where we do get to hear and possibly see. That would be great. Fig, stop flirting with me. I've told your wife it's getting a bit much, but okay. They bled out where they were killed and then drugged a few feet. The blood stayed where, because it's funny, they say this in the defense, but yet in the affidavit, remember in Ron Logan's, I think it was, that there was so much, that there was so much blood that basically the BG would have had a bunch of blood, but there was so much blood at the crime scene, and here they're basically, sounds like they're minimizing it.
Right.
Right. So
but then at one part in the document, they explicitly say they believe Libby was unalived against the tree that the F was written on with her blood.
Right.
So clearly, I mean, they even went as far to make, and I'm not going to go into, but I mean, they went into graphic details about how the killer obtained the blood to write the letters or the F into the tree. And it was heartbreaking to read. So, but then when it came to Abby, they did mention the absence of blood. And yeah, I agree that if everything that the defense is alleging is true in that aspect, in that part of the document, to the point where the pink shirt was completely clean, you know, we know that they did that. You know, they probably were unalived when they were undressed, and then Abby was dressed later or redressed later, which in itself is a horrifying thing to imagine. But yeah, is that 5 feet? You know, I mean,
Terrible.
and what happened to Abby's blood? Like, where is it?
Her what?
Her blood, like, where, like, you know,
Well,
if
I was
you
gonna
know,
say,
if she died, you know, if she died the slow death, and you know, where's any other mention of this yellow rope that they talked about in the document as well, that was
right,
found at the crime scene, or that was evident in a crime scene photo, I should say.
right. I mean, again, and it would be a difference to us if we literally had those photos to match up to what they're saying to see the
Yeah.
truth of them, you know, because again, right, they're going to try to minimize it, try to put the blame over here. We all know that Richard Allen admitted it 5 or 6 times to it. Do I think? Go ahead.
Sorry, no, go ahead.
I love it when you cut me off, baby. I love it.
I do. Sorry.
No, I just go ahead.
No, I was going to say, you know, admitted to it 5 or 6 times, which there was no mention of that in these documents, nor was there any mention of the fact that, you know, a car that matched Richard Allen's vehicle, meaning the Ford Focus, not a Mercury or Ford 1965 whatever comment, a vehicle matching Richard Allen's Ford Focus was seen traveling west on 300 at 127, I believe, or 129. Don't hold me on the timestamp. That we learned that was captured in the Harvest, the Hoosier Harvest footage, heading west, which is towards the CPS building, not away. So when Richard Allen says he was there from 12 to 1:30, the footage we have of him arriving at the scene was at 1:30, essentially. So all this nonsense about how he was not there from 1:30 to 4, come at me, bro.
CD says he has to take it as a little man woke up, dog barking, face off at a raccoon. So CD out. Okay, buddy. Again, we might not be live at that point. Either or. I know it's really hard because I love hearing from CD Figs in the house over there. It's kind of like, remember Adam, right? How last week we were supposed to do a Delphi, but Deb couldn't make it. Fig couldn't make it, and whoever else, I can't remember.
Yeah,
Stefan.
my dad had a TIA, a mini stroke, so
How is he, by the way?
he's doing really well now.
Good.
Thank God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So, right, exactly. So, you know, at the end of the day, it was kind of like, oh well. And then this happened today, and then of course, you know, like I said, our great friends, you know, like I said, there's a nice little group of us, and I know with Adam, and he has his kind of other circle as well that work together. And really, again, and the bottom line is whether you believe this or not, just go do your homework yourself too. With it, believe what you want. At the end of the day, hopefully the true story comes out, and we just want justice for Abby and Libby.
Right.
That's the bottom line. I don't care about, like, literally, I don't care about the clicks and the views and all that stuff. This is about people. Those will always come before anything, you know, type of thing. So, like I said, you know, if I wanted to sit there and rake off clicks and views off Delphi, we would have continued, just keep bringing it up. Not to say that other channel creators aren't. It's just that we kind of cover other ones where we were covering Delphi for 2.5 years, and it means a lot to us. But we also wanted to expand and follow other cases as well, because it's exhausting. Like, it was exhausting work, and I just got to a place where I didn't feel like I had anything really to offer to keep talking about anything until more information came out. So this is, in a sense, I hate to use the word, you know, got me. I don't want to use the word excited,
Reignited.
but reignited. You know, for the Delphi girls, because to me it means that regardless, we keep moving a step closer to some, hopefully, truth and justice for Abby and Libby.
Yeah.
You know, love
Can
listening.
I ask Alexa a question?
Yeah. No.
Alexa, so, you know, we heard, you know, if you I have a feeling that a lot of people watched or listened to this information today, and they're like, "Oh, this Odinism stuff, this Brett Holder stuff." There's probably some validity to it, because why would it be being put out there if it's not factual? Um, but I mean, we were told very early on in this case that there was staging and posing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
It is
stick
crime.
and twigs.
So, what are your thoughts when it comes to the Odinism stuff being? I mean, clearly to me, that's an example of staging. It would be a misdirect to point in the direction of a ritualistic killing that probably actually was something else. So, what are your thoughts on the staging aspect of it being ritualistic?
Well, remember, and this is just to refresh everybody, you got it perfectly. Staging is usually when the person who unalives, they try to misdirect the police. So, for example, they do they unalive a person, and then they make it seem like it was a suicide. So that way, when the police comes in, they're like, "Oh, it's a suicide," but it was really a homicide. So that's staging. Posing is more for a gratification. It means something to the victim. They like to leave the bodies in certain positions for their own benefit, whether it's pleasure or whatever. So the organism, I mean, in this case, would be that I truly believe. I honestly never believed that Richard Allen could be capable of staging. And I tell you why, because I don't think first of all, staging is not very common. This is not something, it sounds like it would be very common because it sounds, hey, I'll do a crime and then I put a bunch of things to misdirect, but it's not as easy as it sounds. It has to be very precise to, kind of to fool, law enforcement. So it's not as easy as people might think. It's only found like 3 to 5%. I always thought that, and this is when a lot of people said from the beginning staging. I never believed that when I knew that it was Richard Allen. I never really believed it because I don't think that he would be as sophisticated or the type of SK or K to be that sophisticated. But Odinism, and this would be a perfect example because it's somebody's, and now that we have this is exactly what the defense is trying to say is, hey, you know what? Somebody staged it to make it believe that it was him. But in reality, look at all the symbols. This is Odinism. You have, the blood, you have the runes, you have everything to make it seem, that it's Odinism, but it's, to take it away from Richard Allen. But I truly don't believe, I personally don't believe that. You see, this is the problem I have. When especially with the ritual homicides, those type of case are very proud of their work. And if they want to leave a signature, they leave a signature and say, hey, it's like the terrorists. When a terrorist group, when something gets blown up and somebody gives a clue that it was them, because when they blame it on somebody else, they go, hey, it wasn't us. Hey, it wasn't us. This is the same thing. If it would have been a, like a ritualistic homicide, they wouldn't leave. See, they don't leave things behind to make it seem, hey, this was a ritual thing.
Right.
They would leave things behind, that is meaningful to them. In this crime scene from day one, it seems like the things, I don't know if people are reading because I never seen the crime scene, so it's hard for me to assess something I haven't seen. But to me, it seems that anything that it was left, it was exaggerated, or it was seen things that are not there. Like, for example, a lot of people always said there was a lot of signatures. Were they signatures or were they MOs? We don't know. And could be a knife, might be a type of signature, but we don't know. So to me, I always believe that this case, like now with the Odinism, it's a perfect example of what the defense tried to do is try to confuse the public and try to take advantage of the crime scene. In my opinion, that's what I think.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I agree with
Oh.
you. I think that they're trying to also taint the jury pool a little bit. You know, we put all this stuff out, then people are
Yeah.
going to hear it. People get picked for jury. Could have a preconceived notion of what they think happened.
I spoke to a couple people today that have been people that know that I don't know this case inside out. I only know the tip of the iceberg. I am not like you guys that you know everything from the beginning. And I was talking to somebody that they know from the beginning, and even them, they were kind of like questioning and saying, "Oh, but you know what? We heard this from the beginning. That the sticks were there, this was there. So maybe," and even people saying, "But you know what? He kind of," and I got a couple pictures, and they were like, "He kind of looks like BG a little bit." And you already see that the defense, what they tried doing, they already accomplished it because people started talking, kind of questioning themselves, saying, "Hey, is it possible?" Could be in their minds, but they're leaving out all. I think they left a lot of details out, especially from the crime scene, that they didn't explain because they didn't. If you're gonna come out and say things, tell everything, put it out in the open. But I think they only took whatever was convenient for them, and that's what they put out.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't find
Yeah.
that fair. I really don't find that fair because
Alexa,
then you're thinking.
Alexa, just do me a favor, because a lot of people know who Alexa is. She's a good friend of ours on the channel, but a lot of people don't. Some people that are going to come in here that are newer to Delphi, that haven't come across you since we haven't talked about Delphi. And there's obviously new creators like Ruckus and that have come into the scene, or maybe like that we know, like meaning he's newer to me, and stuff like that. But for people that don't know what your experience is, can you just remind people exactly what you have done for a career?
I was a crime and behavior analyst, crime and intelligence behavior analyst. That's the real title. Basically, criminologist. I did from crime scenes. We did crime scenes. We did data. We study, all the SKs. I also did body language, and I did profiling. Everything is part of, and I also did graphology, which is the study of the personality traits with the handwriting analysis, not forensic. I cannot tell you. A lot of people always say to me, "Oh yeah, can you see what type of pen?" I cannot do that. That is a forensic, handwriting specialist. I cannot do that.
Yeah.
So I basically did that for 16 years.
Yeah.
So that's
criminology,
basically.
Yeah. And again, right? Like, I mean, for me, it's always one of those things. We can have profiler Alexa on, somebody else can have a profiler on their channel, think a whole different way and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it really, the experience that Alexa had. So even if we're not maybe on the same page exactly, because again, we all have our thoughts of what's going on. She has the experience to go with what would be normal typically, of obviously her experience for 16 years and all that. So, which I madly respect, of course. I go with my intuition, my intuition and gut, and of course the facts I put together. Again, I wasn't schooled in forensics and stuff like that. So, and for me, I just enjoy the difference of opinions. Like me and CD believe that there was multi people involved, and I know you did. And like I said, now you're kind of like seeing it a different way than originally. And Deb and Adam, like I said, I think it's more of just Richard Allen, and a lot of you guys out there might think it is too. Again, we're just like anyone really, but Alexa has at least the knowledge of a crime scene in a sense, and the forensic side. I just look at pictures and facts that are put out there. So I mean, I'm glad with the information that came out, but not for the family if they didn't know certain things. But I do agree, Alexa, with the, are you just really going to be like, yes, we did it. Odin, come find us, it does seem a little bit absurd that they're literally going to like just sit there and claim it like that, as if, I mean, it's not like Delphi is a big place, going, yep,
Right.
we're Odin, we did it, we're here's the stuff. So I definitely agree that they're playing to what they want it to be like. And maybe those twigs meant nothing at all. Maybe they did, maybe they
Maybe.
didn't.
One thing I'm curious, and I would like to know, because I mean, those are for the people that are local in Indiana. Have there been other cases of Odinism around the area?
I haven't. I'm from Indiana. I have not. Like I said earlier, I never even heard of Odinism until this case, and I've lived here, with the exception of 4 years. I've lived here the rest for all of my life. So, yeah, I have not heard of any cases that were connected with Odinism.
Just to ask you, Deb, did you want me to show a portion of the video of the ritual that Brad Holder had done, or no, or just leave it?
I don't care if you want to. I did want to point
Go
out
ahead.
Anthony France had a really good question, and he was asking, is it true some of the branches were cut by a chainsaw, which they mentioned in there? I think, I don't know, it's possible. That area belonged to Ron Logan, and we know he had big bonfires and things there. He could have cut all kinds of bonfire wood, pre-done it, and maybe they carried those over from his yard. I don't know. I mean, It doesn't mean he brought a chainsaw with him, but it could mean that, yeah, he found those and they had been.
See, but this is, for example, like in Odinism or Satanism or vampirism and paganism and all of them. See, that's what it doesn't make sense, because they wouldn't just leave it to faith and be like, hey, we found this and let's put them rooms. They would have brought everything, because everything has to be perfect. I mean, even aligned to the south or the east. I don't remember which specific side they have to be pointing at, because they have to be pointing at a specific. So I don't see that. For me, that when I see that, I just go, this is completely fake. That's what I'm saying. They didn't even bother to study and make sure that in order to say, that something has to be, at least it has to qualify. I mean, I can't say, hey, I'm going to go and qualify for Miss Universe because I don't have the qualifications. You know what I mean? So I
don't know. I think you do.
Thank you. But you know what I mean? This bothers me. It's almost like somebody said, hey, what and there were so many defenses that they could have used. Like Adam was saying, Deb was saying at the beginning, they could have just mentioned how many other people were accused at the beginning. Well, just go with Ron Logan all the time. And hey, he did it. He's dead. He can't defend himself. But this is just out of left field. Really out of left field.
I mean, and GMF3. So normally when we're talking about another case, he's going, can we get to Delphi now? so Kelly, new member. Thank you, Kelly.
That's funny.
So now he's saying, can we get back to Calvaconte? But let me play a little bit of this for people. Okay, so this is from Brad Holder's thing. And again, he is Odin. And so this is showing basically some of the ritual, I guess, that they do, or however you want to call it. What do you call this? A ritual kind of ceremony?
I believe this was like a closing ritual to something that they were doing, if I understand it.
Okay, well, let's just watch a little bit of it for a minute. Okay. And please, nobody message me on Messenger, please, or else your thing's going to pop up in front of this thing, okay? Thank you. Okay. Thanks, hi, bro.
Hail Thor! Hail
Thor. There's Thor.
Hail Thor! Hail Thor! Hail Thor!
This space is now holy and warded in a sacred space. Mind your thoughts, mind what you say, mind what you think. This is now a sacred, holy seed.
See that like horny thing on her back?
Yeah.
Shit. Whew. Okay.
So I think if the animal is like
we're warded, we're guarded.
It's
We're
probably
all
horn
protected by
looking
the
like.
hammer of Gunnar, the word hammer. And I want to tell you guys about Kavitr. When I formed this kindred, I went back and forth with the name. And I thought it only right, with me being a musician, and a lot of my kindred members, and a lot of my sisters being artists, poets, writers. Those are the gifts of Kavitr. So I wanted to honor him. And I will read to you about him.
GM, I agree.
So when I bless everybody. Inspiration, creativity, passion.
Fast forwarding a little there. Not going to be watching this all. You guys can go watch it on his page and videos. Yeah. It says right there, this is in Fort Wayne, Pagan Pride closing ceremony. Passion. Inspiration. Yes. Moving on.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on.
Oh, wow.
Okay. All right.
We're going to pour libations, and we're going to thank all of the beings that I said we were going to thank. If anybody has anything else to say.
Nope, we're done. We're good.
The most beautiful God of sunshine and light, the God of illumination.
Okay.
My Valkyrie's over here.
What's she doing to the tree? Oh, right, because they do trees.
Selena, would you give us the honor of pouring out our ritual mead?
Can I get an F, please? An F? Okay.
My sister made that board for me. We call it a buoy. Thank you. Anybody wants to leave offering, feel free.
Yeah, Miss Margaret.
Under
I
the
know that
oak, the
Delhi
heathens
agrees
of
with
old
100%.
gathered, and we gather here today. People of many paths, we call to the ancestral oak, the oak of the future and the oak of the now. We give our offering now in that connection with past and future and the eternal now.
Yeah. Okay. That's good.
Speaking things, speak your truth.
Speak your truth. Deb, speak your truth.
What?
Speak your truth. I just said, speak your truth. Speak your
Oh,
truth.
wow.
And GMF, just pick any which one you would like. I'm sure I could, work it out for you. Just saying.
Right.
Touch. But anyways, that was just to give you a little bit of something. Like I said, obviously, again, Brad, hold on, unless he's by chance turned off
And-
if it's stuff. But
And that's the video that they used in the document. In my opinion, I believe that's the document they're referring, or that's the video they're referring to in the 25-minute, even though it was 28 minutes.
29.
29.
Yeah.
Example of a ritual. And I know that when I watched that, if
I'll be right
what
back.
Okay,
if
Deb.
this didn't involve the unaliving of 2 children, my overall assessment of what I watched in that video would have been like, these were a bunch of dorks that needed a life and didn't have one, so they created one for themselves. It's like the Dungeons and Dragons people. No offense to anyone that plays Dungeons and Dragons.
I get what you mean. Yeah, like it's
But
definitely not my cup of tea, but
like I said, I'm using that as a broad example. I'm not saying, you know, there's anything wrong with that, but this was not, in my opinion, any example of a ritualistic, horrible thing. It was
no.
a bunch of dorks that were playing a game in the forest.
Well, I was gonna say with the Odin, and again, I'm vaguely and like know anything about it, but I remember seeing that there's like the good Odins and the evil Odins, Rah. And yeah, so kind of like good and bad people in the world. Anyways, not my personal cup of tea. You know, I mean, that's what it reminded me of too. You know, that when you kind of create this thing, but I don't want to take away from it because I don't know enough about of all those different you know gang things or Odinism and stuff like that. I literally know crap about it. Now I'll come back to you once I know a lot more about it. Trust me on that. But right now, I can't say about it. I keep myself shut on kind of that whole thing I was watching there. It just it's not my thing, right? I don't. You'd never catch me in that circle by chance unless it was on Halloween or something like that. But you know, but I don't want to take away from people that say have Odinism or whatever Odinites and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't know nothing about it really. Just know it's weird to me. That's it. That's all I could say about that. Bunch of misfits, Tammy says. Do you guys believe Alan is? Some of them, I personally, not sure on that. I believe that he's the BG. I don't know that he's necessarily the person. I believe that there's more than him involved myself. I just don't think myself, like, it just depends on how you look at it. Right, Alexa? You know, you look at it from this the SA standpoint, in a sense, you know, of someone that's living out their dreams and wishes and perhaps and stuff like that, and it just depends on how you look at it. I see multiple people involved, and that's my stance. I know Adam doesn't. If CD was here, you would.
High five, Aspen.
Can I answer really quickly? Anthony France. Anthony France says, Aspen, what does the F painted in blood at the crime scene represent?
Oh, that's
Anthony. You know what? I would love to know that. I mean, if
what do you mean?
Because this is and this is kind of represents how I'm conflicted, because in one way I look at all of the examples that were given in this document, and how they represent Odinism.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
And I think, okay, well, if I take the defense's word for this, it would represent what this F means in Odinism. And, you know, that's, you know, from my recollection, it's a sense of wealth, power, control.
Well, the F says wisdom, apprentice, test, inspiration, advice. Reverse F is trickery, interference, delante, whatever, and deceit, dissipation, and stuff like that. Now, in that thing though, Adam, right, in that document, you guys, it was said that the F is Odin, innocent, right? So they're saying that between the Hagel and the F, that means hail Odin.
Right.
But there's meanings behind what each of those symbols mean.
Right. Now, and you know, so if you're looking at this in regards to everything the defense is saying being the connection the defense is using to connect what was found at the crime scene with what they allege it to be representative of, compared to the fact that I know I was told from a law enforcement source that none of this has anything to do with Odinism, and that it's 100% BS. How do I reconcile those two things?
Right.
And and it's too fresh for me to actually, even like conclusively say how I feel about that, because that it could evolve. But the sources that tell me it's BS, I trust more than this because of my past experiences with the sources that tell me it's BS.
Yeah. I need to like I need to dig deeper into it myself. Like are they just claiming that it means hail Odin, or does those symbols truly mean that together? Or
And like I said, I would need to see the actual photo of the F on the tree to see how, or the same as these symbols that the sticks or whatever,
okay.
to see are they actual Odin symbols, or are they just a very vague misrepresentation of Odinism to misdirect law enforcement?
I'm like lifting my hand like a little kid.
Yeah.
No, you guys can see. No, and going to that exactly what you said, because they even say the F in quotation marks. So that means that they are not 100% sure that that's exactly an F. So it could be an F. It could be maybe they were trying to make, like I said, an F could be a half of an A. We don't know.
Right. And an F can represent many different things.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Deb.
That's okay. It could also be that he just wiped his hand and then wiped it again. We don't know. We haven't seen the pictures, but yeah.
I mean, that would always be sweet, but of course, they're not going to want to put those photos out there, sadly.
Right.
And I don't want to say sadly, but for me, like I said, it's one of those things, like, as a person that's trying to figure out, like anyone, right? I mean, what happened has happened. There's no changing that. The families will never have those girls back. They only have memories and stuff like that. And unfortunately, they have a lot of sadness to go with how these girls were lost. As for me personally, like I said, it's just, for me, it's like trying to figure out the story of why, like most people, what happened to Abby and Libby that day. And one day the story will unfold. I don't know if we'll fully hear the whole story unfold.
I think we're closer to it.
But we're getting there. We're getting there.
I think we're closer today than we ever have been in the past.
Right.
As hard as it was to hear the stuff that we heard today.
Yeah.
Miss Margaret says, can you clarify misdirection? Miss Margaret, when I say, or when any of us mention misdirection, it's always been said by law enforcement that the scene was, that the girls were posed and that the scene was staged. And the definition of staging, which I'm not trying to take Alexa's thunder here, but the definition of staging is when the perpetrator of a homicide falsifies a crime scene to misdirect, or they influence a crime scene to misdirect law enforcement in a direction that is not the actual motive for why they committed the homicide or crime.
Right.
And Alexa, please correct me if I misspoke there.
You did excellent.
Yeah. I mean, to put it simply for some people, if you like, I mean, I know what I'm talking about. Most of you guys should know, but it's just basically to make you look one way at a direction of, say, the Odins, when really it's really these people over here that staged it to make it look that way. So that
because why would an Odin have them take their clothes off?
Exactly.
So right. And I agree with Alexa on that. Of the fact of, like, honestly, if Brad Holder had anything to do with this, okay, even the biggest imbecile in the world would shut down their Facebook, take down that stuff right away. They would not want to be any way involved or implicated. He obviously has been attacked. Again, for me, it's never been a thing that I went down, from a long time ago when his name was brought up into it and stuff like that. And now he's going to go through a lot of grief over this because of his name in there from the defense and from the YouTube that creators that are pushing that story out there to the defense and blah blah blah. And then again, they're creating a story based on whatever information. I don't think even, like I said, the biggest moron would keep that information up there. And I do think, like Alexa said, like, are you really gonna go, hey, hello, it's Odin's, we did it. Come on now, come find us. It just doesn't seem likely.
Right.
You're right. I can see it being misdirected. Absolutely. But I can't. And that's what it seems like to me. Like it was, if anything, it was a misdirection.
If you want to even go into that deeper, as far as, if you want to go to the motive of Brad Holder saying, let's say Brad Holder is the mastermind of this whole thing. If you look at the little segment of his discussion with law enforcement that was released in these documents, he states he never met Abby. He states that he never met Anna, even though it was earlier alleged that the whole purpose of this was because of a race mixing created by one of the victim's mothers. But he also says that his son Logan would accompany him on visits to Delphi on the weekends when he would go to his Odin meetings. And he believes that during that time is when he spent time with Abby. But to his knowledge, that his son Logan only met Abby one time in real life, and that the rest of their entire relationship consisted of online connectivity. So we're then led to believe that this man was so outraged at whatever he believed to have transpired by a mother he'd never met, nor a child he'd never met, that he concocted and orchestrated and carried out this entire homicide for a 13-year-old girl that his son was dating, that he'd met one time in real life.
Mm-hmm.
That to
So were
me
they
is,
not boyfriend girlfriend?
I'm only referencing the one reference in these documents where Brad Holder says they only met one time.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So to me, that's a pretty far stretch to a motive.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry.
Yeah. You know what? Like I said, my personal thoughts is this. You guys know I called out a BG like freaking everybody else underneath the sun. I called out my BG, and honestly, but in hindsight, regardless how this ever turns out, you guys, regardless, honestly, it is. You can sit there and literally ruin somebody's life. Whether it's Pat Brown, whether it's Logan's, whether it's Maxwell's, whether it's whatever, right? I mean, I think it's one thing to say like it's, like allegedly, whatever. But I mean, honestly, I can, like, when you really think about it, could you imagine yourself if someone's accusing you of something that's totally horrific and you had nothing to do with it whatsoever, right, and the damage that you can do to somebody, their reputation, everything.
Wait, so let me ask you. So if 6 years after, let's say allegedly Brad Holder is guilty of masterminding this entire event, is your immediate reaction then, and I know this is subject to being argued, because one person is going to say one thing, one person is going to say another, but Brad Holder responded to you, Sonny, today. He responded to Tom Webster today. He responded to a third person that I know of as well today. He also posted a public Facebook post about if he had the money, he would sue the defense team for defamation of character. If you're guilty of these crimes, do you, one, not remove the incriminating evidence off of your Facebook? 2, do you then openly admit to law enforcement when questioned about being an Odin, even though you used Odin symbols at the crime scene? And then 3, 6 years later, within hours of these allegations coming out,
Doesn't make
publicly respond so brazenly that you're like, nope. And I would sue if I could.
Yeah. Meaning,
And I think that's one of the reasons that people cannot believe this, because they're like, okay, it's one thing when, like a YouTuber or a sleuth or whatever, calls out another person, say, hey, that's the BG, or, that's the SK, whatever. But this is the lawyers. The lawyers are making this legal document, going to the court in front of the judge to say, hey, this is the person.
Yep.
So this is, the weight that this has, it's almost like, this has to be true. There's no way the lawyers would do, even a defense attorney will never lie like this in order to get the client. And that's what a lot of people are having trouble understanding and having reconciliating between, hey, is it true? It has to be true because they're saying it, because otherwise what's going to happen? And they are not understanding that this is just a cheap tactic. That honestly, they went too far, and in my opinion, they are unprofessional. They were way unprofessional.
Right. I kind of felt that. As I was reading what I did read, I was feeling the same way. Just, when you get the vibe of it being unprofessional, that's kind of how I felt as I was reading it. It just sometimes it just feels like undergrad that's just coming out of frickin' whatever wrote it or something like that. It just, you can always get the vibe when you're reading something, when you're reading the Koberger stuff, lots of times, you're just reading it and it's like, okay, thank you. This one, it was, I don't know, it just was like a lot of storytelling, and it just didn't come off as like what you would call professional to me either.
It read like a fairy tale. Like I was like reading something like out of a novel. It was something that it's not true. It didn't even make sense. In my opinion.
If their client was innocent, they would have no reason to go to the length of writing a 136-page document trying to suppress the fruits of the search warrant that they claim has no merit.
Right.
Someone told me a long time ago, people that have nothing to prove don't normally try hard to prove their point.
Yeah.
I can kind of relate to that. I can kind of relate to that.
Sorry, just trying to grab something for, I think it's Boston Christian. Let's check Boston.
The coordinates?
Yeah. Let me see. I'm going to put them in. Okay. I'm putting the coordinates Boston in the thing. They're not the Ron Logan coordinates. Those aren't the coordinates to the crime scene.
Yeah, it was where they were found, and the other tree they were talking about where they're saying Libby was killed is just right there, a few feet away.
Okay.
Miss Margaret said something here that I just want to address. Miss Margaret says, it sure convinced me of reasonable doubt. Good thing I'm not going to be on the jury. And Miss Margaret, when I finished reading these documents today, my overwhelming thought was sadness, because I immediately thought that people were all going to read this and take it as fact and not see past what they were reading being a narrative being presented from the defense. And ultimately, you're right. It doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter what anyone says. What matters ultimately is what's going to come down to 12 people that are seated on this jury.
Exactly.
And the evidence that they're presented with, we don't know what that's going to be yet, because there's going to be rulings on a million different things as to what's permissible, what's not, if this goes to trial, if it doesn't. So everything we're saying right now is conjecture. And what really matters is the 12 people that sit in that jury box. I just pray that Libby and Abby get justice. Well, I mean, there isn't justice for what happened to them.
No.
From what I read today, there's no way in the world that justice can be served in this case.
Mm-hmm.
No.
I mean, those girls were robbed of any dignity or justice that could ever be bestowed on them.
Yeah.
But I hope that the 12 people in the jury are able to have an accurate and honest set set of information to make their decision on.
Yeah. I mean, I hadn't read it when Alexa told me about that. This page 28 was like, really sad and hard. And then I went to it after she said that to read it because I hadn't even got there yet. I think I was on page 9 at the time, and whatever. And the first thing that came to my mind was honestly about Becky, Mike, Anna, David Erskine, Kelsey, just all those people that. Carrie, thank you.
Yeah.
I knew I was kept forgetting someone. Sorry, Carrie. But it, like my heart instantly stopped as soon as I started reading the first couple lines. That's the part that hurt, was thinking about them. And this is what, like, regardless of if the Odin thing is blah, 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 regardless, these girls died in a horrific way. We know that and stuff like that. And that's what was hard. And then, and again, I wasn't shocked by the information because we've heard so much of it. And that certain parts of it were true. At least I did anyway, because you guys know, anyone that has followed us, this channel, as for me, I personally put a lot of time into photos and looking at the crime scene, but not the actual photos of the crime scene, just from the helicopter footage stuff that originally started. But I did go back to the helicopter footage, like I said, myself, not just Devil's Hop Yard, because I like to do, I just like to dig for my own stuff, and Adam dig for his, and, Deb digs for hers and stuff like that. And everyone has their own thing that they do with Delphi. But anyways, it was very hard, Alexa, when I started reading it, and I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting to read graphic details. And it's out there now for everybody to see.
Sunny, when you brought up Devil's Hop Yard, I have to say that when I read the description of the way those limbs were laying on Libby, I immediately thought of how you were talking about that stick man looking thing you could see in the Devil's Hop Yard video.
The pancake man.
Pancake man.
Yeah.
Because of the way that the sticks were shaped. I thought of that. I thought of you. Yeah.
And that was funny that Deb said that, because I was thinking, is my pancake man going to be revived? Is some of the stuff that I've been looking at just not my illusion? Because I know some of it's not. I know that there are things that might be what they seem to be but aren't, and stuff like that. And it was just trying to get to the truth of what was truly there, like what's all there, right? Again, I'm going to go back to some of those pictures, you guys, to kind of show you certain things of them if they match up. I'm just going to go back to it all. I'm sitting there going, oh, now I got to go back to all my photos again. Oh, yeah. But sorry, Mr. Electric just said, hey, Sunny, I've had time to process your request to do a podcast from an old ex-con. My wifey said, go for it. Oh, okay. Oh, remember we were talking about that? Yeah. So just send me an email, Miss, at A Criming Shame. Here, I'll put it in the thing.
While you're doing that, Melissa says, has the jury been picked yet? No, Melissa, the jury won't be picked until, I believe, jury selection. I believe it starts on January 8th. I'm not looking at my documents right now, so I could be wrong, but it's in the first week or two of January. And then in relation to something Sunny just said, one thing I kept looking for in the documents that we read today, that they didn't mention at all, other than the fact that it was, a ritualistic weapon or a knife. But there was no mention whatsoever as to the murder weapon being taken or left at the scene. There was not a single mention of
Right.
of anything referencing the murder weapon. And I found that interesting because it gave no answer to something we've kind of debated, many times on this channel and a lot of channels.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely a lot of things that they didn't put in there.
Right. Because Sunny and I both, I think, and I don't know about Alexa and Deb, but I know Sunny and I are both in agreement that I believe that the murder weapon was left at the scene.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, absolutely.
But in no court document have I seen any evidence that they have it. So
yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, to me, I couldn't show anybody enough clear picture to me of at least one. I believe that there's I know that it's a rich, like it's set up to look a certain way. I know that for sure. To me, it wouldn't surprise me if one was in both girls, but I can definitely make out the one for Libby. And it's there. It's just there. Like there's no denying to me this object that's literally in that area that is of some sort of, whether you want to call it a ceremonial knife or a whatever type of thing. But, again, it's just so waiting to come out and see what all is said. And it wasn't said in there. So whatever, right? Again, just ride this all out because there's one goal for this all. And that's just justice for Abby and Libby. At the end of the day, we want to know what happened. We do. Because we're nosy ass people and we want to know what happened. Okay. Who doesn't? You invest a lot of time into a case. Everyone wants to know why somebody did something. Why did they take this life or that life?
Right.
Why? What was going through their head, at the time? Like, what are they, are they like a psychopath, sociopath? Are they this? Like even Brian Koberger, like, if he is found guilty, like why? Why did he do it? What made him take that route? And that's the same thing with Delphi. Everyone, you want to know why to what happened.
Right.
What caused the chain of reactions that Abby and Libby lost their life that day, But the most important thing is, even if without that information, you just want that somebody goes to prison or people go to prison for a very, very long time for the actions against those beautiful, poor girls that went for a frickin', whatever. Yeah.
Good night,
go
Miss
ahead.
Margaret. Sorry, Sunny.
Margaret, sleep well. Yeah. You guys, you know what? I think, I love talking with you guys, but it's probably time to wrap it up. It's 9:41 my time. We're at 3 hours. There's a lot of stuff that I know that Deb's going to go through on her channel. So don't forget, if you're not subscribed to Deb's channel, Deb, let me just go find your link quick. Well, all our links are in the description of this video. So it doesn't matter if you're looking at merch or donations or Twitter, Facebook, anything. Okay. All those are in this Deb's true crime, Aspen. Yeah, Deb's true crime. No, sorry, Deb. I was just going to grab your link as I was saying that.
Do I need to do a stream about this?
But because some people are going to see this that aren't going to know necessarily about, Deb. Oh, Deb. Oh my goodness.
What?
I haven't looked in a while. You're at 912 subscribers. We need Deb to get to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. How many watch hours are you at?
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
I need probably another 1,200 hours.
You'll get there.
You know what? And like Deb is so close. So if you're not subscribed, you guys, please to Deb's channel, go over there and subscribe. She needs 1,000, but she also needs you guys. It doesn't matter if you even fall asleep to Deb on there, right? Just
I was just gonna say that. Like I just learned that each person who has a channel can get, like, you could watch a video and be counted for it 4 times in one day. So
I didn't know that.
Put it
I
on,
didn't know that.
turn the volume. Yeah. put it on, turn the volume on down, and go to sleep.
You
Right.
hear that? Yeah, I didn't know that either. Deb. So
Especially
you're
our
saying-
10-hour one. We have a 10-hour one from what was Kagan's sentencing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just turn that sucker on and go to bed.
Yeah.
And hey, he'll deny this, but anyone that wants me to go on Tom Webster's channel, just message him and tell him you want me to, because I
Tom's
think he's
taking
doing
me.
another one on Sunday, and he may or may not have asked me to come on earlier, but
Well, I'm going to be mad because when they voted who they wanted on there, you and I had the top. As a matter of
I'm
fact, I
kidding.
had more votes than you did.
That's because I voted for you, Deb.
Wait a second. I know nothing about this. I know nothing about this. Was there some sort of
Well, that's why you got to watch his videos, be in his
No.
chat.
No, but Tom Webster did a live stream tonight, going over some of the stuff. He actually went over some of the stuff that we didn't talk about, mainly when he talks about the motion to move Richard Allen to another facility. So I encourage anyone after they're done watching this. I mean, he had like 600 people in his chat, so I assume everyone watched it. But if you didn't, go watch Tom Webster's live stream from tonight.
Oh,
And watch John Kelly's video on this, on his, profiling of Richard Allen.
Did anyone watch Pat Brown's?
No.
I don't always agree with Pat Brown, but
I didn't watch it.
I watched a snippet of it. I only watched a very short amount of Pat Brown's live that she did about this today. I was intrigued. I'm actually gonna watch the rest of the live tonight after we get off.
Okay, yeah.
Can I check it out?
Because I want to tell you what I've been doing the last 3 days, and it ain't been watching any true crime videos. After the after the Cavalcante one, and Tom, he doesn't get offended. He doesn't. He'll pop on our lives, and then I'll go check him stuff out and stuff like that. I didn't know that this stuff was going on. I legitly dig myself in like a gopher, back up and down. I'm mostly down, and I just work on stuff, and I really do not know what's going on. I don't know what drama's out there. Couldn't tell you about Tom's live today. I didn't see no pop up for it. Either way, we love Tom. Tom's a great guy. Again,
he's awesome.
You guys, if I'm at the bottom of the list, that means you love me more. If I'm at the very bottom of that poll, okay? I just want to say that.
Yeah.
So that's how it works out. It goes from the bottom up, okay? Right? So if you're near the top, people don't really want to see it. Okay. But anyways, you guys, on a serious note, we want to get Deb to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. She deserves it. She works hard. She's a beautiful lady inside and out. And again, I'm loving watching her grow herself. Sorry, Deb, that I didn't realize I hadn't looked at anything. Honestly, I didn't know that you're at 912 now. That's so cool. And let me put it this way.
A lot of that is Tom Webster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was he?
His last, not the one tonight, but the one before.
3 weeks ago.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago, he had me in the chat, and about every 30 minutes, he dropped my link and told people to go subscribe, and it's gone from
that's so sweet.
Over 100 subscribers from that.
That's so sweet.
Yeah. He's a doll. I love him.
Yeah, I really want to say this. For people that want truth, and transparency and whatever, honestly, the people that work hard really are the ones that really you should give your effort and time to. Like Deb, myself, this channel and whatever, we try to always be about truth and transparency and not throw bull crap at you or false information. Again, no one's going to be perfect on what they put out there, but we will never be that type that just sits there and tries to take advantage of people and try to manipulate you into a false thumbnail and stuff like that. But meaning, like I said, someone like you see, sometimes I just really hate it when you see trash go to the top very fast because of their manipulating tactics that they use on people, but when people work hard like Deb, and you see other people that are, okay, it really saddens me. So please do support the people that really do try to give you honesty, integrity, respect, and all that stuff. And, and be nice and kind to each other. It's a nicer world when people can have opinions and just be nice and kind to each other. There's no need
Right.
of silly arguments over stuff. It doesn't matter. Everyone's entitled to their own thoughts and their opinions, and just be respectful about it to each other. I can't stress that enough. It means so much. I was literally watching videos. I love watching videos about people giving away things to people on the streets or whatever. But for me, since I've been younger, it's how you approach and how you do things, and being kind and nice to people and stuff like that. So I really hate it when it comes like, I feel like I'm under attack on the internet. You come underneath more attack than you do in real life. But I really try to ignore that stuff. But I just want to say, like, Deb, she's like just an amazing person. Alexa is too, but she doesn't have a channel. CD, he hasn't been doing much either. Figgy, you guys all know that. These are good people. I don't know Ruckus enough, to sit there and say too much. But if Deb,
Sonny, what about me?
no, not at all. You're last. You're first on Tom's list. You're last on my list. But but you guys can tell people that are really truly doing it for the right reasons, and the people that try to shovel shit your way. And then don't forget about Adam too. Adam's with somebody.
That's the same thing Tom told me.
Did he? Yeah, Tom's dry sense of humor is really is really funny, to be honest. We love Tom. We love Tom. Good people. I like to associate myself, and we do too, great guy, with good people. We don't want to be part of, I don't, at least Stanley for sure doesn't want to be part of the drama, and I know Deb doesn't. Alexa, she loves it. She's just in denial if she says no. She loves drama. But no, we love Alexa. Alexa, okay, so let's get through with this again. So Deb, final thoughts on anything that you want to say you're doing, anything you want to say?
Yeah, my final thoughts are that, first of all, we could all be totally wrong because we've been so shocked at things that we didn't see coming in this case. But right now, I lean towards the fact that it was, definitely sexually motivated because, like Big said earlier, why would the girls' clothes be off? And then we know Richard Allen seemed to have a problem with that, being fired from Walmart, for sexual harassment, etc. So, I lean towards that. I lean towards a lone.
Was he fired
wolf.
first?
Yeah, from Walmart. Yeah. I lean towards what?
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, I lean
He was
towards
switched around a little
wolf.
bit.
I lean towards the lone wolf because, that's from what I've seen. That's what I think. But I'm open to it. Another thing I noted that if the defense was going to blame somebody, why didn't they? And they felt Ron Logan was guilty. Why wasn't he blamed? So that was something I picked up on it. And then last, I guess when I started reading the description of what happened, I was so struck by this feeling that just came over me, overwhelming, of the first thing that went through my mind is, and I call them our girls, because we've been in this for so long. Libby and Abby, I love them. I felt like I knew them, right? And so the reality, I hope I don't get emotional here, but the reality of the fear that they went through just cut me deep. That was really hard when I started reading that. And then the second thought I had was of Carrie and Anna as mom, and of course all the family members, but as a mom, how horrible.
Absolutely. As a mom,
Exactly. And that's how we can relate to it. I feel bad for Libby's dad and Abby's dad and the grandpas and the grandmas, and I feel bad for all of them. But regardless of what happened, regardless of what we all think happened, the bottom line is I don't want it to lean my way so I can be right or whatever. I don't care if I'm right. I just want truth to come out. And that's my last word.
Absolutely beautiful. Yeah. I'm just gonna say one thing to that. As a mom, sorry, those children shoot out of our chute. So that's how we can relate.
Right.
I can't speak for fathers. Obviously, they love their children too, but we're the ones that, literally just put them out the slide and come on out. And that's that bond as a mother. Just like Becky Patty, she's a Cancer, sorry, as well, but she's that fighter personality in her. Even when you're,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? A very giving, but a very strong personality. Why? You don't choose to be sometimes, but you have to be. So as a mother, you fight for your children. Not to say fathers don't. Okay, I'm just doing for women because we're come out of our shoot. But as a mother, that's the first and foremost thing, and that's why I always put myself in somebody else's shoes, because as a mother, you can relate to the loss of your child, and it's just like I said, this is a child that you and your husband or whatever created and whatever, and it's just heartbreaking. But anyways, Alexa, go ahead.
No, I want to say, yeah, I agree. This is heartbreaking. I think we always talk about this case, but we never really stop to really think what those two girls really went through, and what they went through was horrific. And my heart breaks every time that I stop and think. But sometimes, you have to keep going and not think about those details. And we hope, I don't think there's ever going to be justice, but we would like this case to have get the person who is responsible to pay for it, and that way it can have closure. And I think that's what the families need. They need closure to know why this happened, so they can move on with their lives. Obviously, they will, for them, this is a loss because they were robbed from their, I heard somebody told me that when you lose a parent, you lose your past. When you lose, a husband, you lose your present. But when you lose a child, you lose everything. You lose your past, your present, and your future.
Yeah.
Because you will never see them grow up. You will never see them get married. You never know if they would have kids. So I can only imagine. So as a mom, it breaks my heart. And I apologize. I know, Sonny, when I said page 28, I should have warned you. I apologize for that. What I want to tell everybody is, I think when you are reading everything, these details and what the defense is trying to say is, I would like people to educate themselves. And I think at the end of the day, people are going to believe what they're going to believe. Nobody's going to change your mind. But I think do some research. Just don't believe because so-and-so says that it must be right. Or because, a lot of people say, oh, but because, profilers are always right. That's not the case. Sometimes we're very wrong. We are completely the opposite way. So never believe somebody 100% because humans, we're not always right. So I think people should educate themselves now that you have everything, all the documents on the table. Educate yourself, find and make your own conclusions. I don't want people to just say, oh, because the defense says that it must be true.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I just pray for justice. I just want to see this towards the end. I think we're so close to the final, to the final.
Yeah.
And I just want to get there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's about it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but nothing ever comes over people first. Nothing. No clicks, no views, no freaking dollar amount, nothing. Nothing comes over people, at least not in my eyes. So to some people, they might be just stories. Personally, any story that I cover is like an attachment of something that has grabbed my heart, not to take away from others, but because there's too many stories out there to even try to cover. But for me, honestly, it's just the thought that somebody literally out there, whether it's the Idaho 4, whether it's Delphi, whether it's whatever her name is, Kirkchin's husband and stuff like that. It's just a sadness that I feel because somebody took their life or lives, and it's just wrong on every level. And I just believe in justice and truth. Simple as that. But anyways, go ahead, Aspen.
I don't really have much else to say that I haven't said.
Yeah. Have a good night then. No, just kidding.
that you ladies haven't already said. But it's funny, we've spent so much time talking about this case, and in all of this time I've always felt so connected to Libby and Abby. But yet those are the only two voices at this point we really have never heard from. are what Libby and Abby went through that day. We've heard rumors, but I mean, today was the first day since I first learned about this case that I felt like I could conclusively have an idea of what they experienced, and that was horrific to even imagine.
Yeah.
And the fact that, you know, that these girls were babies, they were 13 and 14 years old. They weren't even in high school yet. And
they're right there on the like look at the poor girls right there.
Right. And they experienced something that I would never wish on my worst enemy. And whatever the motive was, it was a horrific act of violence. And, you know, never in my life will I forget, especially reading the repeated, gratuitous, in my opinion, overstatements by the defense of the slow death that Abby experienced by the defense. When they were trying to paint the picture of what their attempt was to say that one person could not have committed this crime, but in doing so they objectified those children so much that I was just disgusted and offended. But they reached, but they were successful in reaching their goal of it being memorable, because never in my life will I forget reading about Abby's slow death.
I know.
Because they repeatedly said over and over and over again. And then they created more than one scenario in which they think that she may have encountered that slow death. And of course, those are all thoughts that we'd already had, but to see them written in a legal document, it rang a little different. And I think it was unnecessary. Yeah. I'll say it again. I believe that the defense is trying to, they're trying to play the card of public pressure, trying to get public opinion on their side, simultaneously while they are trying to use legal maneuvering to exonerate their client.
Yeah.
They're right. They
because
have the right
it's a case.
I think it's disgusting. I think it's gross. I hope it's unsuccessful, but it is their right.
Well,
and
go ahead, Adam.
And really quickly to finish, I think that it's important to note there were several things in the documents we read today that were requested to be kept confidential. The 136-page document that we all read today that contained this brutality and horrible amount of facts that I feel like didn't need to be public, could have been requested to be kept confidential. But the defense of Richard Allen requested that they be made public and included with the publicly released motions they filed. That was unnecessary. And it caused harm to the families, and it caused harm to the memory of the girls, in my opinion. All right, I'm done.
So I'm going to say a couple things here for myself. Now, first thing, I just want to ask you guys, CD, I sent the file to him. Was it later taken down and then redacted from with the names on it? Because like we have,
it was up. You know, I haven't seen it, but I know it was up and then it disappeared. So it's possible.
So it's possible that it redacted. So which we have.
What was taken down and redacted?
Some of the names of.
I don't know if it was redacted. I know that the Frank's document was put up this morning, and then for a
Mhm.
while it was gone. So I don't know if it's
So unless
back
it just
and it was.
crashed.
Well, I was saying because like the file, like the files that I received, they were directly from Carroll County, and those were PDFs.
Right,
So
right.
once they were saved on my device, they couldn't be taken down.
No, ours weren't. Ours weren't.
Yeah.
It's just it's only because no city admin comment that, hey, can you send me the file because the other ones say that
Ah,
they've taken away some names and stuff, like
Mhm.
taking them out
Yeah.
or
okay,
whatever.
got
Either
you.
way, right. And so yeah, so for me, again, Abby and Libby, is the main reason why I would believe that we're all following the case. And it's like Deb said, and we always say, those are our girls too. Like meaning you're not taking away from the family members, but those are our girls because we don't look at it like this is just a case. This is a case that we care about, and we care about those two girls that you're looking at right now on the screen, because as mothers, as human, as anyone that has a heartbeat, right, this is about those girls. And so when you're seeing it, because the defense, and like I said, I could never ever ever sit there and be some sort of defense lawyer for something that, you know what I mean, I could never just do
Yeah.
something like that because it's a case. They can, and that's what they're doing. They don't care about Abby and Libby. Their whole point for them is that they're trying to get Richard Allen off because that is their job. This isn't their girls. This is a case to them. That's it. So they have no problem throwing out that stuff to the wind, as hurtful as it is for people to read it, see it, whatever. But to us, these are human beings, and these are people that we have grown to love as almost like our own, you know. So
Mhm.
that's what's hard. Is that you're reading that bunch of that crap, how they put it out there like that, and yet these are these are victims here. So I mean, I get what they have to do. I could never in my lifetime ever defend I could never just do that as a job, ever, because I couldn't live with myself knowing I was trying to help somebody get off, even if I felt they were guilty, but because it was my job to do that. Heck no. Some people can. That's their own personalities, but these are our girls. We care about these girls, and we want justice for those two girls right there. And their families want their families to have the answers that they deserve and to move on to the next stage of the process that they're going through and stuff like that. And it's so
Mhm.
sad. Here, Kelsey has had, a child now, her and I think Caleb is his name, and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And instantly, you just can't help but think that Libby should be there to sit there and see her little niece, to be an auntie, and she's not because she never will. Anna lost her
Mhm.
daughter, and sorry, and like I said, and Libby looks like just a mini me of her mom, Carrie.
Oh,
Um,
she does. Yeah,
so does
she really
Anna.
looks
I
like.
mean, so does Abby as well. It's
Yeah.
just like, if anyone knows watching this, right? You guys fell in love with these two girls. They just didn't deserve it. It's just heartbreaking. It's just heartbreaking. And my bottom line for me was Libby took a video. To me, that's what to me I fight for. Libby left a video of the BG on the bridge, you know, and for me it's like she deserves those answers. They all deserve those answers. But because of that, whatever you want to call it, smart thinking and whatever she was thinking, I know that I don't know what I'd be doing, but to have that on video for me is one of the biggest reasons to me that Libby and Abby deserve the answers. But that video basically was just whatever timing happened within their deaths between the 213 mark or whatever, they deserve the answers. They deserve justice. And that's what that video represents to me of the BG. That was their way of leaving, like, this person's part of it. And I don't
Mhm.
even want to imagine anymore, to be
The
honest with
courage, imagine the courage and the intelligence of this I mean both of them, but Libby, knowing that they were in danger and leaving that little clue behind that was so, that basically helped,
you.
was going to help solve this case. I mean, I can only imagine how terrified they must have been because they knew that
That's
they knew
yeah.
they were in danger. It
That's
breaks
the
your
part.
heart how young
Yeah.
they are. You don't think about that part.
that's the part that I have the hardest time with. And I remember Becky talking about that. That's the hardest part. Because imagine what their poor little souls were going through as they knew
Yeah.
that evil was right there. And, the first thing that, that they're thinking is, mom, dad, whatever, like, help, help, help. And they, right? Meaning you're instantly thinking that you just want someone to come along and, in a sense, and the fear that they would have gone through, is just horrific. It's just horrific to think of, you know, that especially when there's two people involved and that one had to have witnessed the other one, you know, it's just it's hard to even think about, and that's why, yeah, brings me to tears too much. And I can't, I hate that one. I can think about for a second. It comes into my head because of something I'm reading, and I have to block that one because that's the hardest part, is to know that these two girls were horrifically killed. Simple as that.
Right.
Anyways, yeah. Anyways, you guys, no, we're heading out of here too. Go ahead. Go ahead, Adam.
I would say, if you really think about it too, I think Deb might have missed this earlier. I'm not sure, but I mean, if those girls had recognized BG, don't you think Abby would have said, "Hey, Mr. Holder"?
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah. So that would be my one
It's-
request.
Yeah. They wouldn't be saying he's behind me, isn't he? I mean, they would be saying, "Oh, hey," right?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, people can put their twist on it all they want, but at the end of the day, just try to use the common sense of it all and what makes sense, what doesn't make sense. I'm sure the Odins aren't going to go, yeah, this is us. Yeah, for sure. Anyways, when it comes to Brad Holder, yeah, I just want to say, his name, because his name is in there so much and stuff like that, just be mindful of other people's lives that you're impacting as you keep accusing. The answers will come out and stuff like that, but just think about some of those things, that it's the story that they're putting out there, and most people are going to walk away from it that don't deep dive themselves and go, yeah, I believe everything. No, okay. Just use some logic on it a little bit, and go check out Odin and whatever, but doesn't mean it's not a misdirection, which we were told. I'm gonna
I
kind of
believe you're right. I believe you're right. I think the documents were redacted because I just got like 3 people emailing me, asking me if I know which who is PH and who is PW. So I think they were redacted.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure, but I think they were.
Yeah, I'm not even sure at this moment, to be honest with you. Yeah, not even sure at this moment. Yeah. Anyways, you guys.
If I downloaded a document, it can't be redacted from my downloaded file.
No. We don't have the original names.
No.
I have
ours are still fine.
All
Yeah.
right.
Ours are still fine. If you want.
Yeah, I've got it screenshotted.
Yeah.
Each page if you need it.
And I printed the document, so
you printed 136 pages?
Yep. I haven't read all of them, but
Yeah.
I just put it section. Yeah, because you know what? It bothers me to read on the computer. It makes me dizzy. So I have to print it. But it's better for me. So that way I can go section by section by section.
Right.
It only took me 8 hours today, but I finally made it through it all.
Yeah. And thank you, Adam, because when I was literally just about to email Carroll County, and I was like, and then as soon as I went to my email, I was like, thank you, Adam. So again, at crimeandshame@gmail.com, it has the 8 documents that are not redacted. And
Right.
but anyways, so however you want to try to get them, or whatever, I've already put that out there. So just make sure that if you are asking for them, make sure that you let me know in the title.
And before Deb screenshot them all, I messaged her and said, "Do you have the documents?" Because I was going to send them to her.
Deb, did you literally screenshot 136 pages?
Yeah, most people did. I know like 2 other people too that they're watching the video.
Yep.
And snap.
No, I didn't do it. I didn't do it like that. I mean, I had the pages sent to me in my email, and so then I screenshotted and edited them because I've got in the videos I'm working on. I've got like I don't know 4 different ones, and so I've got like a page.
Yeah.
And I read about the page, and then the next page, and yeah.
All right. However we get there, I guess. Eh? Yeah.
Right.
Anyway,
So, and
love you guys. Go ahead. Oh,
really quickly. So my understanding is, I believe Judge Gold now has, because the Frank's motion was filed, I believe that Judge Gold has 30 days to respond to the request for a Frank's hearing. So today's what? These were filed on September 18th. I believe that the court has until October 18th or 17th. I'm not sure of the days to respond to granting the Frank's hearing. I don't think there's enough evidence in what I read to grant one, but I hope they do grant the Frank's hearing because I want them to quash this before the trial for Richard Allen starts.
Gotcha.
And I think it eliminates any other argument relating to Richard Allen being guilty, in my opinion.
Right.
But yeah, I think they have 30 days. So I would look out for the next, by, October 18th, should have an answer as to whether or not they're going to get a Frank's hearing.
Right. Because you don't really want to push this out there, because that's what they want. They want you to keep pushing it out there that their story, what they're saying, is accurate. Like said, to try to tilt the table or tilt the whatever cards in their way and stuff like that. So honestly, it would just be feeding into it if everyone just ate it all up and believed in it. Okay, guys. Again, think about things like, that is really the Odin's going to do this. Why would Brad Holder leave all this stuff on his Facebook and stuff like that, and videos and all that stuff, knowing that it was a misdirection? So just remember all those things, because they want you to put this out there and spread it as far and wide, so that people that perhaps are in the jury pool or whatever, that all of a sudden they're like, this, because if you don't know the case deeply, people are just going to buy what they see, a lot of people. But anyways, with that being said, Adam, is there anything else before we go? Normally it's me that can't stop. This time it's you. Are you done? Alexa, done?
Nope.
Love you? No? Yeah.
Thanks for having me on. I love being with you guys. You're the best.
1,000 for Deb and watch her videos. Just fall asleep to them. Yeah.
Yeah, this felt like old times. This felt like the first time you guys invited me when Deb and everybody was here. So again, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you for
thank you for coming on.
I love all your thoughts, Alexa. You're so brilliant.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sorry that I'm shiny, but it's so hot in here, and I didn't want to put the AC because
I know. It's okay. We can never usually hear it anyway. But thanks to CD as well, and thanks to Andrew Bass and Phoenix again. Prayers. Sorry about your grandpa. And again, you guys will see you again soon with Delphi. There's a lot to discuss. So thank you guys very much. And all right, we're out of here. Yeah, we're good. Okay, bye guys.
Get the outro.
This is Sunny Justice and Aspen Connor from It's a Crime and Shame, wishing you all a good night.